Chapter 425. Two pillars of light collided in the starry sky, blooming with dazzling starlight. The surrounding dead stars cracked, and the meteorites turned to dust. The black-haired young man roared and charged again with his sword. Jiang Chongkong piloted the warship and charged over. Rumble. The warship collided, and barriers lit up to block the giant sword. Crack. Cracks appeared. The impact of the warship cracked the black-haired young man's body. The warship quickly retreated and then charged again. The other warship shook, and the light pillar of the great path roared out. Thousands of golden lights bombarded the light pillar. Thousand-Year Feather pounced on Scorpio and shouted, "Jiang Chongkong, that's a warship in your hand, not a F*King Mecha." Thousand-Year Feather was confused. You're piloting a top star Saint battleship. If it's not a top star Saint mecha, can't you fight normally? Who would drive a warship to hit someone? Jiang Chongkong's expression was a little awkward. However, the impact was not bad. The black-haired young man was almost broken. Roar! His body roared, and the power of the great path exploded, bombarding the warship. The warship shook violently, and the barrier trembled. He hurriedly pushed the warship away, and a light pillar surged out. Two pillars of light, one rushed toward the young man, and the other toward the broken warship. Thousand-Year Feather faced Scorpio alone. He, who had recovered all his strength, had the upper hand. Rumble. A warship and a black-haired young man were equivalent to two top-star saints. If not for the successful sneak attack, Jiang Chongkong would not have been able to resist with just the warship. Rumble. The light pillars kept colliding, and the black-haired young man dodged. Jiang Chongkong's warship crashed again. Roar! The black-haired young man roared, wanting to curse. Who fought like this? Inside the warship, Nether Dragon flew over. Brother Kong, is the army of the Earth's celestial kingdom here? No, I'm fighting the top star Saint and another warship. Jiang Chongkong piloted the warship and rushed into the starry sky. Sit tight. The 100-year pilot will take you across the starry sky. Boom! What did you hit? Nether Dragon's expression suddenly changed. What kind of technology is this? I did it on purpose. I bumped into the peak of Star Saint, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. The Abyss Dragon was rendered speechless. No wonder I kept shaking when I was in seclusion. So was you driving the battleship and ramming people. Dodge! The warship's attack is coming. The Abyss Dragon screamed. The warship charged straight up, evading the attack of the Great Path Light Pillar. Jiang Chongkong said confidently, "Don't worry, I now have 100 years of piloting experience. I think you can go into seclusion and continue to break through to the Star Saint realm." Forget it. How can I be at ease? Sitting at the side, the Netherworld Dragon shook his head and said, "Breaking through to the Star Saint realm will take some time." Jiang Chongkong didn't say anything else. He dodged the light pillar of the Great Path and continued fighting. The black-haired youth was so angry that he roared again and again. He immediately gulped down a bottle of medicine, and the injuries on his body quickly healed. Jiang Chongkong's expression changed, and he directly crashed into it. The black-haired young man shouted coldly, and a vast amount of stellar force blasted out. The other battleship's light pillar of the Great Path also blasted over. Jiang Chongkong's battleship directly sank, and another two light pillars of the Great Path attacked. The battleship directly rushed out, but the youth slashed down with his sword, and the sword light that could split the sky and the earth enveloped the battleship. Jiang Chongkong's expression was calm, and the light pillar of the Great Path roared out. Rumble. This time, Jiang Chongkong's battleship was indeed sent flying. The youth's aura skyrocketed, and his expression was gloomy. "Aunt, your doomsday is here." The youth shouted coldly and quickly rushed towards the Starry Sky battleship. The other Starry Sky battleship directly shot 4 or 5 light pillars of the Great Path, blasting over. "Brother Kong, I am so desperate." The Netherworld Dragon's gray face had an additional trace of white. Facing such an attack, the peerless battleship might not be able to withstand it. "I believe in the 100-year pilot." Jiang Chongkong's expression was cold, and the corners of his mouth curled up. The attacks of the two sides rapidly approached. The giant sword slashed down, and the light pillar of the great path blasted over. Boom! The battleship shook, and starlight bloomed, instantly sinking. Rumble! 4 or 5 light pillars of the great path fell, blasting at the black-haired youth at the same time. The black-haired youth directly exploded, turning into countless pieces of flesh. Jiang Changkong's battleship once again shot out 4 or 5 light pillars of the great path, drowning the pieces of flesh. Brother Dragon, now you can rest assured. Jiang Changkong smiled and drove the battleship into the starry sky. The Netherworld Dragon panted heavily. I suddenly like it more. You drive the battleship and smash him to death. Under the power of the great path, most of the pieces of flesh were destroyed, but there was still life left in the other half. The pieces of flesh were condensing, and Jiang Changkong had no time to attack anymore. The battleship's light pillar of the great path had already caught up. Crisis averted. Jiang Changkong responded with a light pillar of the great path, smiling faintly. The rest is no longer a concern. Even if we delay, we can wait until the Golden Feather Clan arrives. The 1,000-year feather pressed down on Scorpio, and with a rumble, Scorpio was already covered in wounds. Although he was also injured, it was not a big impact, and it was only a minor injury. Jiang Changkong shot out a light pillar of the great path, crashing into the black-haired youth that had just condensed. Although I can wait for the Golden Feather Clan to arrive, I'll be more comfortable killing them and taking the resources. As Jiang Changkong spoke, the battleship crashed into the black-haired youth again. The black-haired youth roared, but he could not change the fact of his death. The huge battleship flew over, chasing after Jiang Changkong. Jiang Changkong used the battleship against the black-haired youth, rushing towards a dead star. Rumble! The battleship crashed into the star directly, rushing into the star's core. This lunatic! The pilot in the battleship behind them roared. Hurry up and catch up! The 2 late-stage star sages shouted. The pilot said in a low voice, We can't chase. We can't save the Lord. That lunatic wants to touch the star's core. It's just the star's core. It can't hurt our battleship, the 2 late-stage star sages said coldly. The pilot gritted his teeth, but he had no choice but to chase. Actually, they couldn't save the young man even if they chased after him, and there might be other dangers. But since the 2 late-stage star sages said so, they could only follow. Rumble! The 2 battleships rushed into the star's core one after the other. A huge star's core was hidden deep inside, covered with dense patterns and shining with starlight. Rumble! The battleship crashed into the star's core, and the tyrannical power of the great path was triggered. The black-haired youth screamed in pain as the power of the great path filled his body, extinguishing his last bit of life. Brother Kong, run! The battleship is coming. The Abyss Dragon looked at the corpse with pity. It's a pity that we can't eat it. Brother Dragon, do you think the explosion of the star's core can hurt a peak star sage? Jiang Changkong glanced at the Abyss Dragon. The battleship roared, and the light beam of the great path shot towards the star's core. The peerless battleship soared into the sky. Rumble! The battleship that had just entered bore the brunt of the attack. The power of the great path exploded, and the star exploded. One of the stars exploded in the starry sky. It was more beautiful than any of the fireworks that had been seen before. However, its power was equally terrifying. It was no weaker than a peak star sage's all-out attack. In fact, it was even slightly stronger. If it was just the star's core, it naturally couldn't hurt a peak star sage's battleship. However, the explosion of the star's core was different. The terrifying star power sent the peerless battleship flying. The other battleship was also tumbling, and the power of the star's explosion continued. After tumbling 5 times, the peerless battleship finally stabilized. Some parts were already deformed and cracked. Jiang Changkong drove the battleship and rushed forward again. That battleship had a hole in it before, and it was in an even worse state now. Boom! Jiang Changkong directly crashed into the battleship and pushed it into the center of the star's explosion. I think you want to play with me to death. The Abyss Dragon screamed. This was completely risking his life. He knew that Jiang Changkong was ruthless, but it was his first time seeing him so ruthless to himself. Chapter 426. Jiang Changkong had a crazed look on his face. Don't worry. This is a top-level 11 warship. It can withstand it. I feel that nothing in your hands will be able to withstand your attacks. If you don't finish this thing, are you not going to give up? The Abyss Dragon roared in its heart. It really wanted to tell him that it couldn't withstand it. If you had a divine tool in your hands, you would probably be able to play with it until it was destroyed. Rumble. The star exploded, and the warship exploded. You even attacked. The Abyss Dragon felt that its life was over. Not only had Jiang Changkong crashed into it, he had also created 2 light pillars of the Great Path. Rumble. The power of the Great Path collided. Jiang Changkong finally gave up. The peerless warship soared into the sky. Rumble. The terrifying explosion and the boundless shockwaves caused the warship to rumble. Many cracks appeared on the warship. Pieces of the warship made of precious materials broke off and floated into the distance. Jiang Changkong didn't seem to notice it. He was still flying on the warship. The Abyss Dragon had already hidden in his clothes, not daring to show its head. The explosions continued. The warship also exploded. The 2 late-stage star sages died inside before they could get out. Crack! The top of his head cracked, and a powerful force poured in. Jiang Changkong quickly retreated with the order and activated his 3 Taoist bodies at the same time. Rumble. The cockpit was completely destroyed. Jiang Changkong was blown away by the huge force and crashed into the wall of the warship. His body cracked. His Taoist body couldn't withstand the force either. Jiang Changkong hurriedly activated his 3 Taoist bodies and gulped down some healing medicine. He took out the level 10 and level 11 medicines and took them all to protect the Abyss Dragon. The waves of force didn't slow down until half an hour later. He could now handle it. Most of the interstellar warship was destroyed. The entire warship was somewhat deformed. Jiang Changkong took the Abyss Dragon and left through the crack on the warship. The warship in the distance had completely disintegrated. The stars had completely dissipated, turning into endless starlight. Looking at the warship under his feet, Jiang Changkong murmured, "This isn't too bad, is it?" The Abyss Dragon was rendered speechless. If you felt that a warship that couldn't be driven and was completely deformed wasn't too bad, then it wasn't too bad. Come, let's go treasure hunting. Their resources shouldn't have all disappeared. Jiang Changkong brought the Abyss Dragon to the dismembered battleship. With the warship acting as a buffer, these people's spatial equipment should not have been completely destroyed. However, this battleship was at the center of the explosion, so he couldn't guarantee how much was left. A man and a dragon arrived at the wreckage of the battleship. There were some charred corpses wearing damaged mechas. There were also some that were just a pile of mincemeat. Jiang Changkong and the Abyss Dragon found some spatial equipment covered in cracks. Quite a number of resources inside had been destroyed, but fortunately, there was still some left. On the other hand, the black-haired youth's spatial equipment only had a crack, and the resources inside were still intact. The star crystals piled up into several mountains, and there were even some spiritual reserves. He put them all away. The time was almost up. Old Scorpion wanted to run, but Thousand Feather chased after him. Screech! A bird cry resounded throughout the starry sky. Large amounts of golden light lit up, vast and majestic like a curtain in the sky. The Golden Feather race had come. The sky scorpion of the star St. Peak had also turned into a corpse, caught by a golden rock. The golden rock spread its wings like a giant star. Over 100 golden rocks, all star saints. This is the super race of the starry sky. The Abyss Dragon was shocked. Over 100 golden rocks were like 100 stars. There were only a few dozen star saints on Earth. Thousand Feather flew over first, transforming into human form. His expression was extremely ugly. "Where's my battleship? Look, there's still more than half of it intact. This peerless 25, I'll give it to you," Jiang Changkong said seriously. Thousand Feather wanted a curse. "You've ruined the battleship. How can you do that? You should be glad that we're still alive." The Abyss Dragon lay on Jiang Changkong's body. I don't want to do it a second time, unless I become a god. Jiang Changkong curled his lips. If you become a god, you can explode a dozen stars with one punch. I'd still dare to rush in. How do I know you, you scoundrel? Thousand Feather sighed. Come, follow me to deal with the rest. We'll meet up with your celestial nation. Let's go and distribute the resources, Jiang Changkong said with a smile. Thousand Feather still took the battleship, including the broken battleship. These materials were still very precious. With a bit more, he should be able to build a peak Star Saint battleship. After distributing the resources according to the previous distribution, Jiang Changkong looked back and found all kinds of creatures following behind the golden rocks. Some were ox-like creatures, some were green birds, and many were pythons. Without exception, they were all Star Saints. How many Star Saints did your golden feather race send? Jiang Changkong's mouth twitched. We brought all that we could. They're all our allies. There are 387 Star Saints in total, including me. 65 are peak Star Saints, Thousand Feather said proudly. He paused and then smiled. Of course, we can't compare to your celestial nation on Earth. You've sent so many Star Saints. There must be close to 1,000, right? Jiang Changkong, Underworld Dragon. He was bragging before. Did you believe it? Jiang Changkong's mouth kept twitching. He'd been bragging about how powerful the celestial nation on Earth was. Plus, he called out 2 Star Saints, which had completely stunned Thousand Feather. But Earth really didn't have that many Star Saints. There were only a few dozen on Earth. Including the recently subdued ones, there were only 100. Only then did Jiang Changkong realize that he'd been too arrogant. The alliance of the Golden Feather Race could beat the celestial nation on Earth. Ahem, of course. Our celestial nation is at least one slap away. Jiang Changkong stretched out 5 fingers and said proudly, as for the Star Saints, because they have to guard their homeland, only 100 or so have come. After all, they've just entered the universe and don't know much. Earth is so powerful, the other Golden Rocks and Star Saints said in shock. They just sent out 100 Star Saints, which was more than their entire race combined. Plus, they had 5 Star Saints. Of course, I have 3 Star Saints marks on me. 3 Star Saints marks appeared between Jiang Changkong's eyebrows, giving off a mysterious aura. I knew one before, but I had too many marks on me and couldn't be bothered to take them. With that, all the Star Sages of the various races were stunned. There were probably 5 of them. Jiang Changkong had mentioned 4. What about the others? Is the one who didn't leave a mark Hua Tianrui? A golden rock the size of a palm landed on Thousand Feather's back. Patriarch, Thousand Feather said respectfully. Greetings, near god of the Golden Feather Race. Jiang Changkong cupped his hands and said, It's not Hua Tianrui. It's the Mermaid King of the 13 Sea Kings of the East Sea. The 13 Sea Kings? She's still alive? The Golden Rock was shocked and excited. Where is she now? Jiang Changkong said, probably still sleeping in my hometown. She likes to sleep, so I didn't want to disturb her. Probably? The Golden Rock was confused. Yes, I want to see her. She said she would fulfill a wish of mine. I want the inheritance of the Yellow Spring bloodline. Jiang Changkong pointed at the Abyss Dragon. The 13 Sea Kings had a good relationship with the Yellow Spring bloodline. They had the inheritance. The Golden Rock looked at the Abyss Dragon and sighed. Unfortunately, so many years have passed. There's no news of the Yellow Spring bloodline. Chapter 427. Senior, are you familiar with the King of Mermaids? Jiang Changkong asked. I grew up listening to the legends of the King of Mermaids. My grandfather met him. The rock spread its wings. Who are the 2 immortals on your forehead? One is a soul cultivator, the other is a body cultivator. Jiang Changkong didn't hide anything. The rock could sense if they were ancient immortals. The rock was surprised, but didn't say anything. It spread its wings and flew away. I'll be going first. Changkong, you're so familiar with the 13 Sea Kings, and they gave you a wish, Thousand Year Feather said, full of envy. Of course. Brother Dragon is the inheritor of the Yellow Springs bloodline. Jiang Changkong patted the Abyss Dragon. The Abyss Dragon lifted its head smugly with an arrogant expression. Thousand Year Feather said, These Sea Kings came from the ancient era. They might have even seen immortals. I told you before that with the world barrier, even immortals can't leave their planets. What does that have to do with anything? Jiang Changkong asked. At that time, the 13 Sea Kings had 8 planets as their fiefdoms. She can travel between them at will. She must have treasures. 1,000-year feather sighed. Unfortunately, you missed a wish. You only asked for the Yellow Springs inheritance. The Yellow Springs inheritance is enough. Plus, she hasn't become a god or immortal since the ancient era. Jiang Changkong said calmly. Even if she has immortal treasures, she's lost her power. Let's focus on what's in front of us. He made a wish to become a god, but the king of mermaids couldn't do it. What could Jiang Changkong do? Even if she was an immortal, she was only a god now, let alone someone who came from the ancient era. Without further ado, Jiang Changkong began to take stock of his resources. He'd gain a lot this time. Deducting 1,000-year feathers share, he had more than 500 million. 700 million essences was enough to make a star saint. If he could make it to the mid-stage, or even the late stage, he would be invincible under immortals. According to his calculations, the Star Sage level required an even more terrifying amount of spiritual force. This 700 million might not be enough for him to reach the middle stage of the Star Saint realm. Therefore, he had to make another profit later. He hoped that by the time he arrived, the Earth army had not completely destroyed them. Jiang Changkong was also sizing up the Golden Rock's strength. There were over 100 Star Sages, but there were less than 20 peak Star Sages. There were only 5 peak Star Saints like 1,000-year Yu. In the Golden Feather clan, Yu Qinyan was indeed a rare genius. It was very rare for him to reach the limits of a Star Saint in 1,000 years. He was the Golden Feather clan's most promising prodigy who was close to becoming a god. Jiang Changkong asked a few more questions from time to time, finally understanding the situation in the starry sky. In the starry skies, there were quite a number of resources that were close to the god tier, but the resources that were close to the god tier were extremely rare. Near god tier weapons were also incredibly rare, and the Gold Feather race didn't even have any near god tier weapons. Furthermore, only the Celestial Nation would be able to produce medicine that was close to god tier. Jiang Changkong recorded this information and felt very strange. Was there any resources close to God on Earth? He could tell from the number of near-God tier techniques that there were definitely more than the Golden Feather clan. There were also very few near-God tier techniques in the starry sky. Almost all of them had been comprehended and completed by themselves. Only after obtaining this information did Jiang Changkong realize how rich he was. 12 near-God tier techniques were enough to make the starry sky break their heads. This didn't even include the underworld dragons, which was also a complete near-God tier inheritance. Of course, he didn't say this out loud. If word got out, he would be in big trouble. Jiang Changkong wasn't in a hurry to improve. He organized the resources and put them away. The Golden Rock flew at full speed and finally arrived at the Scorpion race's territory 2 days later. The sky was filled with interweaving starlight, and countless great Daos collided. The battle was still going on. Tai-In killing formation, power pattern killing formation, and sun killing formation. The 3 major killing formations were activated at the same time, their power enveloping the starry sky. Jiang Changkong had only destroyed a corner, which could be considered a gap in the formation. And the Earth Army used this gap to open up the situation. 3 lights bloomed around Nanyang. The 3 great Daos alternated and responded to the 3 major killing formations. The 3 killing formations ignored the Earth Army and started a battle in the starry sky. Since the killing formations were useless, the experts of the Scorpion race, the East Sea Divine Kingdom, and the West Sea Divine Kingdom had to fight in person. These people were all very strong and had recruited many Star Saint warriors. Although there weren't hundreds, there were dozens. There were also 6 or 7 peak Star Saints. And although the number of Star Saints on Earth far exceeded theirs, some of them were obviously not doing their job well. They had surrendered to the Earth Divine Kingdom and handed over their resources, but only because of the pressure from near-God tier experts. If there was only the Scorpion race, they would have tried their best to kill them. But what about the East Sea Divine Kingdom and the Celestial Divine Kingdom? These 2 countries were very powerful. They were stronger than the current Earth Divine Kingdom. They didn't want to fight to the death with the experts of these two countries, so they held back and let the battle be in a stalemate until now. Nan Yuyong was also very angry, but he couldn't do anything. He couldn't kill them at this time, could he? Your Majesty, calm down. We'll deal with them after we finish the scorpion race, Shuet Dingpeng hurriedly advised. Nan Yuyong's expression was cold. I've taken action personally. It's been so long, but we still haven't taken them down. The other forces are laughing at us. A divine kingdom couldn't take down a scorpion race after so many days? If this got out, they would become a laughing stock. Your Majesty, it'll be a joke if you take action, Shuet Dingpeng hurriedly advised him. This isn't a show of strength and prestige. If you take action now, doesn't that mean we have no one left? Nan Yuyong gritted his teeth and could do nothing but worry. We can't delay any longer. Otherwise, it'll be detrimental to our development. Taking a few deep breaths and suppressing his anger, Nan Yuyong's gaze was solemn. The nearby super clans are all unwilling to join the Divine Kingdom. Shuet Dingpeng shook his head. They have near-god tier experts. We can't force them. They're all watching. Hearing this, Nan Yuyong was even angrier. I shouldn't have become the great emperor. I should have let Jiang Changkong take over. Shuet Dingpeng, you can't be like this. How can you be the great emperor and then quit? Besides, Jiang Changkong's 3 battle bodies were Tai Chi, power patterns, and soul, which were different from yours. Rumble. The stars in the distance trembled, and golden light filled the sky. Golden rocks the size of stars broke through the air and arrived. The golden feather race has come. We ask the great emperor of the divine kingdom of earth to open the formation and let us in. Yu Qinyan roared. His voice reverberated through the entire battlefield and spread throughout the star sector. The golden feather race? Nan Yuyong was delighted. He hurriedly activated the power of 3 lights and opened the formation. Please, Brother Dragon, go back. Jiang Changkong put down the dark dragon. He turned into a giant that was thousands of meters tall and directly picked up a mid-stage star saint. As soon as the 3 Tao bodies were opened, the mid-stage star saint was immediately annihilated. Jiang Changkong, what are you doing? We're on the same side. The star saint of the Black Stone race roared. The star saints that Jiang Changkong had killed were their surrendered clans. If we can't take them down now, what's the point of keeping them alive? Jiang Changkong's expression was cold, and his voice was like thunder from the 9 heavens. You're not doing anything. More than 1,000 star saints of the divine kingdom of Earth are on Earth. They'll be here in a few days. We'll kill you and make room. Nan Yuyong. Since when did Earth have more than 1,000 star saints? Chapter 428. I don't dare to accept your bragging. The next moment, Nan Yuyong understood. There were still star sages from other races behind them. Close to 400. If Jiang Changkong didn't brag like this, he wouldn't be able to suppress them. How could he suppress more than 400 star sages? Him, a cultivator of the 3 great combat bodies? Even if Nan Yuyong was powerful and didn't fear these star sages, he didn't dare say he could kill them all without getting hurt. Moreover, he was the emperor of the celestial kingdom now. He couldn't do everything himself. This was a force that couldn't be suppressed unless he was close to a god. The Golden Feather Race led the team into the battlefield. Jiang Changkong killed a star sage and shouted again, "The celestial kingdom of Earth can take 30% of the spoils. You can also take 30% of those you kill." The East Sea Divine Kingdom and the West Sea Celestial Kingdom could only take 10% of the spoils. 30% of the spoils of Earth was already a huge benefit. Nan Yuyong followed. Pass down my imperial decree. Everyone here is an ally of the Celestial Kingdom. This is the first time we've fought together, so we can take 50% of the spoils. Jiang Changkong. Is there something wrong with your brain? 50%? Thank you, Your Majesty. Kill. Thank you, Your Majesty. The Golden Feather Race's star sages roared as if they were on steroids. Jiang Changkong was pushed away by a giant python. He was a little confused. What are you doing? Children, don't fight and kill. Go back and be good. The giant python grinned gently and turned around to charge out murderously. What the hell? I'll get a share too. You guys are really bad. No, Nan Yuyong is really bad. Jiang Chongkong flew away and came to Nan Yuyong's side. His face was green. Your Majesty, Nan Yuyong, is there something wrong with your brain? What's wrong? Nan Yuyong blinked with a hint of confusion. The East Sea Divine Kingdom and the West Sea Celestial Kingdom only gave 10% of the spoils. 30% is already a lot for us. But you want to split it 50-50 with them? You have so many resources, so why don't you give me more? Jiang Chongkong roared in rage. This immortal emperor was simply too weak. Nan Yuyong, is it too late for me to change my words in a moment of excitement? Shui Dingpong said in a timely manner. This is the first time we're working together. We have to show our sincerity and show how much we value them. 30% will do in the future. Nan Yuyong nodded. He pulled Jiang Chongkong aside and asked in a low voice, You just said that we have more than 1,000 star saints. How do you want me to respond? They're all on Earth. Not all of them are coming out. Jiang Chongkong rolled his eyes and said, Can they go to Earth to watch? What if I really go and take a look? Think of a way to stop it. That's what you should think about. Jiang Chongkong said expressionlessly, You're the great emperor. As a member of the Celestial Nation, it's already good enough that I can recruit people for you. Nan Yuyong wanted to slap him. Are you going to throw him to me after you're done? Shui Dingpeng was very excited. With the addition of the Golden Feather race and so many Star Sages, our strength has more than doubled. That's true, but it's not useful. We're friends, not subordinates, Nan Yuyong said, rubbing his forehead. That's easy. Just give them a few positions. Besides, if it really doesn't work, we can change the Celestial Nation into the Celestial Alliance. We can follow the Federation model and establish some higher-ups. Let them send their forces over, and you can be the leader. Jiang Chongkong shrugged and said, Also, kill those who deserve to be killed and destroyed. You have no prestige at all now. Even the army of Earth is supported by the Federation and the near gods. You're too generous to some of the fallen races. If it were you, would you kill them all? Nan Yuyong said in a low voice. If I don't destroy a few races, I won't be honest, Jiang Chongkong said coldly. At the very least, we must kill some of them who don't contribute. Nan Yuyong's expression turned cold. This matter has disgusted me. I'll destroy them when I get back. We'll destroy the rest ourselves. Don't let them do anything. Jiang Chongkong pointed at the Golden Feather race and the others. He was throwing resources at them for nothing. Even he had only gotten a mid-stage Star Saint. With the addition of these Star Saints, the situation was completely one-sided. Nan Yuyong spared some of the Star Saints who had sincerely pledged their allegiance. Under the threat of death, some Star Saints didn't dare to show their disloyalty even if they wanted to. Only a few warriors of the Scorpio race, the East Sea Divine Nation, and the West Sea Celestial Nation managed to escape. The rest were all killed. Nan Yuyong didn't bother to chase after those who had escaped, so he let them go on purpose. He told them that the Celestial Nation of Earth had come and formed an alliance with the Golden Feather race and the other races. Next, it was time to clean up the battlefield. A group of Star Saints arrived. Jiang Chongkong introduced them to each other and signed a friendly contract. Nan Yuyong couldn't have asked for more. With the help of these Star Saints, the Celestial Nation would be completely established. They could also use these contracts to trick other forces. Thousand Feather and the others felt flattered. More than 1,000 Star Saints and a few near gods from the Celestial Nation were actually so easy to talk to. Earth has always been generous to our friends. You've seen the Star Saint from before, Nan Yuyong said calmly. Then, his expression turned cold. But some people just don't know how to appreciate it. If you hadn't come, I would have contacted my homeland and sent 500 Star Saints. The Golden Feather race was almost scared out of their wits. You're really ruthless. After suppressing them, Nan Yuyong brought his people back to Second Earth and held a celebration banquet. The banquet was of a high standard. In order to win them over, Nan Yuyong made up his mind and took out some Star Saint-level spirit medicines to entertain them. Everyone has been pursuing the near God realm. I wonder if you've seen this medicine. A bottle of medicine appeared in Nan Yuyong's hand. It was golden and emitted a mysterious aura. The bottle was covered in interwoven patterns of the Great Path, completely sealing it and preventing the medicine's power from leaking out. As soon as the bottle appeared, A tyrannical might of the great path made everyone present feel great pressure. Near God medicine? Everyone said excitedly. Thousand Feather was the most excited. He had already reached the limit of the star saint level. One more step, and he would be near God realm. This bottle of medicine was too attractive to him. Nen Yuyong smiled. Everyone has a good eye. I've decided to give this bottle of medicine as a reward. In the future, whoever expands the celestial nation the most will be rewarded. Are you serious? Thousand Feathers' breathing quickened. My words carry enormous weight. Nan Yuyong's expression was solemn. How could the emperor of a nation go back on his word? I've misspoken. Please forgive me, Emperor. Thousand Feather hurriedly apologized. Nan Yuyong smiled. I know that this thing is very valuable, but you must know how powerful the celestial nation of Earth is. I won't say much about the near God realm. In any case, there's more than one. Yes, yes. The Star Saints nodded. We'll set the two nations as our goal and start a path of conquest. We'll fight all the way to the star regions near the two nations. Then, we'll choose the one with the most merit. What do you think? Nanyang put away the medicine and said calmly. The Golden Feather race has no objections. Thousand Feather was the first to agree. After a pause, he carefully asked, May I ask how useful the near God medicine is, and how many bottles are there? It can speed up the understanding of the near God realm and increase the success rate by 10%, Nen Yuyong said calmly. As for the number of bottles, I can only say that, like the near God realm, I can't reveal it. There's more than one bottle. Emperor, do we have a chance to visit our homeland on Earth? A green bird asked. Of course, but now is not the time. The celestial nation has just been established, and our homeland is in a state of nervous preparation. Some secret weapons are being taken out. There are too many secrets involved, Nanyang said calmly. Chapter 429. When the celestial nation stabilizes, I can make the decision that your clansmen can visit Earth and even settle there. Nanyang made a promise. After all, it would take a long time for the celestial nation to stabilize. By then, he would probably be close to the gods. At that time, he would pass the throne to Jiang Changkong and leave the mess to him. Nanyang thought to himself happily. He really didn't want to be the emperor of the celestial nation anymore. At first, he was excited for a few days, but in a few months, he would be the representative of Earth. There were close gods above him and the Federation behind him. There were some things that he couldn't decide with a single word. Even the emperors of the other two nations were probably the same as him. What was the taste of being an emperor with a bunch of close gods above him? Jiang Changkong drank and ate, completely ignoring what they were saying. After the celebration feast, he planned to go into seclusion and then leave. Because he had saved Millennium Feather, he had been delayed for so long that Earth's attack had caught up with his progress. The celebration feast lasted for 3 days. The spoils of war and various resources were distributed. Jiang Changkong also received another 200 million in resources. He had brought the Golden Feather clan great credit. Unfortunately, because 5 of the resources had been given to these clans, and they still had to reward others, as well as fill the national treasury, they could only give 200 million to Jiang Changkong. In addition to spiritual energy, there were also many ores and other materials that could be used to forge weapons. Jiang Changkong didn't think it was too little. It was close to 1 billion and could break through. He said goodbye to Nan Yuyang with the underworld dragon and went to find a dead star to go into seclusion. At the same time, he also gave Nan Yuyang the high-level resources he didn't need to Nan Yuyang and asked him to give them to his territory. Of course, Nan Yuyang would collect a portion of the processing fees and give them to the Federation. Jiang Changkong didn't care. He could easily get a star or a clan now. Even after deducting the processing fees, it was enough for his territory. Jiang Changkong went into seclusion with the help of treasures. The underworld dragon didn't use any treasures and comprehended the Star Saint level by itself. Because Jiang Changkong broke through quickly, it was good for him. The underworld dragon only wanted him to be as strong as possible. As long as he needed it, it would let him use it first. Jiang Changkong first perfected the remaining 4 cultivation arts and stepped into the early stage of the Star Saint realm. The transformation began once again. The great Tao began to condense, and the might of the Tao also began to compress. He just wanted to become stronger and more terrifying. He didn't feel anything about his own great Tao, because his martial arts and the great Tao had always been the most suitable for him. Jiang Changkong continued to carve his Tao body, allowing it to reach a higher level. The Star Saint realm was similar to the Star Tao realm. Both of them carried the great Tao, but the Star Saint realm was even more powerful. It was their own great Tao. Time flew by. Even with the help of treasures, this secluded cultivation still took 4 months. The new Taoist body was completed. Only a few parts of the great Tao were left, not even 10%. However, its power was more than 10 times stronger than before. Now, it would be no problem for him to beat up a middle-stage Star Sage with just one attribute. 3 types of great Tao should be enough to deal with late-stage Star Saints. As for peak Star Saints, he did not know if he would be able to deal with them. Jiang Changkong, early-stage Star Saint. Top-tier middle-grade martial arts. Immortal Golden Body. Entry 1/2, 500,000, Tai Chi Sutra. Beginner 1/2, 500,000, Sun Sutra. Beginner 1/2, 500,000, Moon Sutra. Beginner 1/2, 500,000, Death Heavenly Blade. Beginner 1/2, 500,000, Sky Imperial Scripture. Beginner 1/2, 500,000, Cloud Taoist Scripture. Beginner 1/2, 500,000, Top Tier Middle Grade Array Art. Battle Form Star Formation. Incomplete Beginner 1/2, 500,000, Essence, Chi, and Spirit. 31 million plus. Jiang Changkong didn't look at the other hundreds of thousands. He only knew that he could enter the middle stage Star Saint realm. He transformed again. He carved the Taoist patterns and carried 20% of the power of the great Tao. Another 2 months passed. Jiang Changkong entered the middle stage Star Saint realm. He was not in a hurry to come out. Instead, he stabilized his realm and condensed the Taoist body. He went into seclusion again. The celestial nation on Earth had already gone there. Jiang Changkong's disappearance in the past 6 months did not cause any disturbance. Many people hid near the dead planet, waiting for him to come out. Ing Lioli and the Golden Rock were also among them. It seems that he is more popular than the 3 battle bodies. Many of us guarded him during the seclusion. Ing Lioli chuckled. The Golden Rock said calmly, "Maybe we made a wrong bet. We should have placed our bets on Jiang Changkong." "How is that possible?" "What we found are all supreme battle physiques. Jiang Changkong is a variable, another monstrous genius." Ing Lioli thought for a while and said, "They want to use Jiang Changkong as bait to shake our faith. Is that so?" The Golden Rock looked calm and glanced at the dead planet. "That's right. We've been hiding Nan Yuyang. They don't know about it. So, they can only use Jiang Changkong as a variable to divert our attention." Ing Lioli analyzed. "Let's see what Hua Tianrui wants to do this time." The energy fluctuation was very strong. Jiang Changkong should have broken through. Why hasn't he come out? Another voice rang out. Ing Lioli said calmly, "He is a peerless genius. He is likely to enter the peak of the early Star Saint realm. Let's see how amazing he is and how worthy of their attention." The voice stopped. That was the end of the conversation. Time flew and another 3 months passed. Jiang Changkong opened his eyes and the treasure in his hand flew out, enveloping the netherworld dragon. Jiang Changkong, middle stage Star Saint, top rank medium level martial arts. Immortal Golden Body. Initial success, 1/17. 5 million Tai Chi Scripture. Initial success, 1/17. 5 million Sun Scripture. Initial success, 1/17. 5 million Moon Scripture. Initial success, 1/17. 5 million Death Heavenly Blade. Initial success, 1/17. 5 million Sky Imperial Scripture. Initial success, 1/17. 5 million Cloud Taoist Scripture. Initial success, 1/17. 5 million top rank medium level array art. Battle body star formation. Incomplete initial success, 1/17. 5 million essence, chi, and spirit. 11221888 middle, stage star saint. Now, no one below the level of near divinity could defeat him. Only the three supreme battle bodies could suppress him, provided that his opponent was at the peak of the star saint realm. He didn't leave in a hurry. He wanted to protect the abyss dragon. Buzz. Between his eyebrows, two marks of the great law vibrated and two figures appeared. "You're really punctual," Jiang Changkong said calmly. "Changkong, let Hua Tianrui out," the two said lightly. "Hua Tianrui? Can't she appear in my body?" Jiang Changkong waved his hand, and a soul star appeared. Hua Tianrui's shadow sat cross-legged inside. The shadow left Jiang Changkong's body and opened her eyes. She walked out of the star and said with a smile, "We meet again, Lord Jiang. What do you want me to do?" Jiang Changkong frowned slightly. "This is a map. You lead them there, and the rest is up to us." Hua Tianrui pointed a finger and passed a map to Jiang Changkong. "What's in it for me?" Jiang Changkong asked back. "What we want is a real near divinity." There was a hint of coldness on Hua Tianrui's face. As long as there are near divinity, the three battle bodies won't really fight. The two near divinity would do their best to protect the cultivators of the three battle bodies. Once the near divinity left, the three battle bodies would be the strongest existence, and they would no longer have any scruples. It's also good for you if the near divinity doesn't come out. You're strong enough to kill whoever you want, the near divinity said lightly. Changkong was not in a hurry to agree. Will the near divinity take away the resources? Will you come out again? Although these near divinity were very strong, Jiang Changkong also had a backer behind him. None of us will come out again. We will keep an eye on each other to maintain a balance. Didn't you set up an amazing array to kill them? Jiang Changkong was stunned. If we could do it, it wouldn't be so troublesome. The near divinity shook his head and said, "Later, we will open the resource gate and put in the near divinity's resources, as well as the immortal divine matter that you like." "Put in resources?" Jiang Changkong looked happy. "Then give me some first." The three of them. Chapter 430. The three gods were very stingy and didn't give him any resources. They just told him that in the future, resources could appear on every star, including the Death Star. In the interstellar era, they jointly sealed some of the top-level resources of the near god and star saints. In this way, the development of the near god and star saints was limited. But the advantage was that if they kept it until now and released it, there would be a blowout period for the near god and star saints. So far, none of the cultivators of the three war bodies have become near god. They could guarantee this. After the resources were released, the three war bodies would also become near god, and they would also open the other unopened starry sky gates, allowing other supreme war bodies to enter the starry sky and participate in this golden age. Jiang Changkong digested this news and said calmly, "You want to let the new near god fight, and you will reap the benefits?" When they fought to the death, there would be a winner and a loser. And these old near gods could wait to become immortals. You can say that, but you can't say that. Hua Tianrui shook her head. Only by opening the secret of becoming immortals can the starry sky have hope. You don't want to die of old age, do you? Jiang Changkong was silent for a moment and sighed. Do I have the ability to stop it? The near gods outside all want to find Hua Tianrui now. Would they listen to his advice? Then it's settled, the three said with satisfaction. Wait a minute, I want that inexhaustible golden substance. Didn't you say before that it was inexhaustible? Jiang Changkong stared at the soul cultivator. When you become near God, we will naturally tell you. Well, one last thing, please help me, so that those near gods can't spy on me. I want to test my strength. By the way, don't leave your remnant divine thoughts on me. You will have time to verify in the future. We don't have much remnant soul power. Hua Tianrui frowned. Then I won't go. I don't want to be exposed in the future. I just want to experience it, Jiang Changkong said lightly. The three looked at each other and said, we can only block it for a month. If they break through by force, the power we left behind won't be able to stop them. You'll also feel it. They still wanted Jiang Changkong to lead the near gods over, so they could only do as he said. Hua Tianrui also retrieved the remnant souls in her soul star, but she didn't retrieve the two near-divine imprints. After the three of them were done, they turned into 3 rays of light and formed a barrier to seal off the area. Then, a flowing light flew toward the Abyss Dragon's isolation grounds. Jiang Changkong reached out and touched the Tao pattern imprint on his glabella. He originally wanted to remove it, but he decided against it now. When he became a near god, he would be letting himself down if he didn't destroy all of them. Roar! An earth-shattering dragon roar resounded, and corpse energy filled the air. A smile appeared on Jiang Changkong's face. At least you guys still have a conscience, allowing Brother Long to complete his breakthrough. The Nether Dragon completed his secluded cultivation and stepped into the Star Saint realm. After the breakthrough, he still needed time to stabilize his cultivation. Are you guys still there? Jiang Changkong asked, but there was no response. It seems like he has really left. Just in case I have to hold back. Ask Brother Long to hold back as well and transfer this Tao pattern out as well. Jiang Changkong took out materials from his spatial equipment and melted them with his great Tao energy. Then, he carved Tao patterns and constructed a Tao body. With Lin Suyun's memories, the process was very fast. Fortunately, the materials he had were not bad, and many were peak star sages. It was enough to carry the Tao pattern. With the protection of the Tao body, those near gods would not be able to tell which one was the real one. A month later, a human and a dragon appeared. Both were shells. Fortunately, those near gods did not forcefully break through. Jiang Changkong infused astral power, and his soul incarnation merged with the 3 near gods' imprints into his body. After getting used to the body, it was not bad. In terms of combat power, even if it was not as strong as a peak star sage, it was not far off. The Abyss Dragon should have stabilized its cultivation, so Jiang Changkong went with his incarnation. When he came to the Abyss Dragon, it had just put away the treasures. Brother Kong, I am also a star sage. Congratulations, Brother Long. Also, you will go with your incarnation this time, and we will go with our real bodies. Jiang Changkong transmitted his voice. Don't ask too much. Listen to your brother. The Abyss Dragon nodded. He had the Yellow Springs Ghost Path, and he had incarnations. Let's go. Let's start our journey of treasure hunting. After everything was done, Jiang Changkong took the Abyss Dragon and flew away. In the void around him, the near gods hid and followed him. The era of near gods was finally coming. It all depended on who could become a near god first and dominate everything. Jiang Changkong felt that this person would be himself. Avoiding the Earth's fleet, Jiang Changkong's flying speed was not as fast as Yuqinyin's, but it was still very fast. Brother Kong, are we going the wrong way? The Abyss Dragon asked as if it didn't know anything. Bring some people to meet old friends. A smile appeared on Jiang Changkong's face. He hurried on and said, Seniors, please follow me closely. Don't get lost. The void didn't respond, and the near gods ignored him. Jiang Changkong was asking for a snub, so he didn't say anything else. He didn't understand why Hua Tianrui didn't directly invite the near gods and instead asked him to lead them. After flying for a month, a huge and beautiful flower appeared in the sky ahead. The flower bloomed, and a fragrance filled the air. The aura of flower Tianrui came from the flower. There was a hole in the center of the flower, and no one knew where it led. Suddenly, a ripple appeared in the void. Jiang Changkong said calmly, Seniors, don't hide. Let's go and have a look. Buzz. The void rippled. Ying Liuli and the Golden Rock came out first. Apart from them, there were some unfamiliar near gods. There were about a dozen of them in total. A month ago, Hua Tianrui came to you in your seclusion, Ying Liuli said. Yes, she asked me to bring you here. I don't know the specific reason, Jiang Changkong said. Then let's go in and see what this flower sea queen is up to, an unfamiliar near god said coldly. After saying this, Ying Liuli grabbed Jiang Changkong and walked forward. She said, If there are any problems, I will take you away. Jiang Changkong nodded and entered the hole in the flower with Ying Liuli. The other near gods hurried to follow. Far above the dead star, Jiang Changkong and the Abyss Dragon opened their eyes and left quietly, embarking on a journey of treasure hunting. On the other side, after entering the flower, the grand flowers dissipated. In a world of blooming flowers, a mysterious aura swept over. Hua Tianrui gently played the zither. Beside her sat two near gods. Seniors, you didn't spend so much effort to lure us here just to admire the flowers, did you? The golden rock was the first to speak. Hua Tianrui looked at them. With a wave of her hand, a huge stone tablet rose from the sea of flowers. A mysterious aura spread out, and a pressure beyond that of the near gods spread out. An immortal treasure. Everyone focused their eyes and looked at the stone tablet. It was full of patterns, but they didn't know what they were. Yes, this place contains the immortal god Great Path. Hua Tianrui glanced at them and said calmly, "Let's comprehend the immortal god Great Path together." Senior, you led us here to comprehend this together? Lioli was slightly surprised. This was a good thing. Yes, but there is a condition. Don't interfere in the affairs of the starry sky anymore. Let them fight among themselves and open the other star doors with me. Invite all the other near gods in. The reason is for the immortal god realm. Well, the celestial kingdom on earth has just started. I'm afraid we can't agree. Lioli frowned. If the near gods fight, this starry sky will be shattered. With your protection, I don't know if this battle will end, the near gods said. It said that the near gods won't interfere, but when it comes to the moment of death, which of you will stand by and watch? Everyone was silent. If it really came to that, even the near gods would fight with their lives. Well, can I, the star saint, leave now? Jiang Changkong whispered. Chapter 431. I'm sorry, Changkong. Please stay here with us and wait until everything is over, the body refiner god said calmly. Why? Jiang Changkong's expression changed. I'm just a star saint, not a body refiner god. Because your combat power has affected the balance. If you stay outside, you will be the final winner, the soul refiner god said calmly. We don't dare to bet that you can unlock the secret of immortality. The best choice now is for us to wait here and comprehend the way of immortality, Hua Tianrui said calmly. What if an entire galaxy is destroyed? Lioli said coldly. What if an entire galaxy is destroyed? You have no confidence in the celestial nation of Earth. Hua Tianrui asked. Of course I have confidence. It's just that it's unfair to the celestial nation of Earth to keep Changkong here. He's our Grand Marshal. Lioli's expression was cold. Jiang Changkong's combat power was even more terrifying than that of the cultivators of the three great combat bodies. If he assisted Nan Yuyang outside, the Earth would probably have the last laugh. Him? If he stays outside, the first one to die will be Nan Yuyang. Hua Tianrui sneered and looked at Jiang Changkong. Young Master Jiang, do you still want to hide? What do you mean? Lioli's expression changed. The others also looked grim. Could it be that Jiang Changkong also had the three great combat bodies? Jiang Changkong smiled calmly. What? Are you going to fall out with me so soon? Fortunately, I have a trick up my sleeve. Even if this body is destroyed, it's just a secondary body. The three great path forms circulated, and the power of yin and yang surged out. It really is the three great combat bodies. How is this possible? Everyone's expression changed as they looked at Jiang Changkong in shock. Now, are you going to sentence me to death? Jiang Changkong put his hand behind his back and showed no fear. Then hurry up and do it. I'm not afraid of death. The other soul refiner gods were a little confused. Lioli was also a little confused. She didn't understand why Jiang Changkong also had the great path of yin. Two of them appeared on Earth. I'm also very confused. Hua Tianrui stepped forward slowly and said calmly, according to the information we have gathered, except for the immortal wilderness and the divine wilderness, the rest of the three combat bodies were born hundreds of years ago. Only Changkong appeared recently. In that case, Changkong can't be considered as a possessor of the war body? You lost your bet on him and want to give up on him? Lioli said coldly with a hint of mockery. Or could it be that you lured us here so that another god could come into contact with those great emperors and pluck the fruits? The three of you have a good plan. The other near gods laughed coldly. They had all come. There were definitely more than 3 of those old gods. Perhaps it was already over. No matter how strong the 3 great combat bodies were, it was impossible for them to block a god. Furthermore, since he was going to harvest the fruits of their labor, he wouldn't make a move on them. Instead, he would be supporting the celestial nation on their behalf. You guys worry too much. Hua Tianrui waved her hand and said, I don't want to kill Chong Kong. On the contrary, I want to train him. I invited you here because I don't want to come out. Train? Everyone was stunned and a little puzzled. Jiang Chong Kong was also very confused. Lock me up here, train? Yes, what if those 12 fail in the end? Hua Tianrui looked a little more serious. The one I have high hopes for is actually Chong Kong. The more you say, the more confused my mind is. Jiang Chong Kong was a little confused. What on earth are you planning? Everyone, come with me. Chong Kong stays. The body refinement god said. Many near gods looked at each other. Ing Liuli frowned and was a little worried. Just leave a trick on him, Hua Tianrui said. Ing Liuli waved her hand, and a blue barrier protected Jiang Chong Kong. She said, if there is a problem, activate my Taoist pattern. All the near gods left with the near gods. Jiang Chong Kong looked at her in confusion. Are you going to kill me or not? Hua Tianrui shook her head and said with a smile, I said that I will train you, and we will still bet on you. However, your appearance will break the balance. We can't let you go anymore. Are you kidding me? I'm only in the middle stage of the Star Saint stage, and those 3 war bodies are all at the peak of the Star Saint stage. Jiang Chong Kong rolled his eyes at her and said helplessly. She was actually worried that he would break the balance. Don't you know how much you have improved? You have never used the Shadow Great Path in battle. If you use your full strength, who could be a match for you at the same level? Hua Tianrui looked at him. You have almost cultivated yourself to the Great Path. It can be said that you are our biggest hope, even bigger than them. Then let me go. I won't fight with them, Jiang Chong Kong said. Then he added, as long as you give me resources. No, they are also our hope. As for resources, sorry, let's see how much is left in the end, Hua Tianrui said calmly. But don't worry. In the remaining time, many of us will teach you wholeheartedly and help you reach the near God level quickly. Soul God also said, with your talent, you can reach the near God level in less than 500 years with us. Jiang Chong Kong. With resources, I can become an immortal in less than 100 years. Do you believe it? Unfortunately, he couldn't say this. Otherwise, the group of near gods would think that he had a way to become an immortal. He finally figured it out. They were worried that he would snatch resources from the outside, which would prevent those with the 3 war bodies from reaching the near god level. What if someone kills the 3 war bodies? What if experts fight for resources? The Star Saint stage? Jiang Chong Kong asked again. With the 3 war bodies, no one can kill them except for you. Soul God smiled and said, besides, if the 3 war bodies are killed in the same level, it's because they are incompetent and don't deserve to become immortals. After that, we will close this place and only go out occasionally to check the situation. But we won't interfere. Hua Tianrui sighed softly. Jiang Chong Kong didn't say anything. This was a good thing for him. Then my body will sit here with you. It all depends on whether my body can become a near god in this period of time. An hour later, the near gods came back, and they all looked gloomy. How about it? Do you agree? Hua Tianrui said calmly. It's a 2-pronged approach. They will choose the strongest, and we will train Jiang Chong Kong. Golden Rock near god said. Without resources, what kind of training is it? Jiang Chong Kong curled his lips. Well, in fact, even if there were resources, he couldn't use them. His secondary body didn't have the ability to upgrade. The materials also limited the upgrade of the secondary body. At most, it could be upgraded to the peak of the Star Saint stage. It was impossible for it to become a near god. He just wanted to test these near gods. If possible, he would keep the resources and give them to his body. We don't need those resources. We will refine the starlight to provide energy for you, and then we will preach to you to improve your level, Hua Tianrui said lightly. In 5 years, I want you to reach the late stage of the Star Saint stage. At that time, you can fight with us and hone your combat power. The other near gods also said, yes, your combat power can't fall behind. Whatever. I'm the only one. You can play however you want. Jiang Changkong had a desperate expression. I hope you play slowly and don't break your bodies. He didn't know where the near gods had taken them. After returning, these near gods all agreed with Hua Tianrui's decision. Chapter 432. Finally, Jiang Changkong's secondary body had a group of near god teachers. Apart from them, there were also some near god teachers who stayed in their countries and did not come. The near god teachers left and went to invite them. They wanted to invite all the near gods. The true era of near gods was finally coming. On the other side, Jiang Changkong and the Abyss Dragon were rushing to the depths of the universe at full speed. Taking out a black robe, Jiang Changkong said calmly, "Find a chance to make a black robe. Ordinary clothes that need to be protected by star power are easily damaged." "Brother Kong, what are you doing?" The Abyss Dragon was puzzled. "Changing something, of course. Didn't your clone send you the message?" Jiang Changkong asked. "I don't dare to. I'm not as powerful as you. I'm just a Dao body. I don't dare to act recklessly," the Abyss Dragon explained. Jiang Changkong pointed and sent the message to the Abyss Dragon. After digesting the message, the Abyss Dragon frowned. "So I have to change my identity?" Jiang Changkong replied, "Yes. Just don't come out. I'll take care of everything." "What identity?" the Abyss Dragon asked curiously. "The Great Path of Yin," Jiang Changwa. Jiang Changkong smiled. "Perfect. I can use the power of Yin to meet those geniuses in the universe." He wondered if it could block his Great Path of Yin combined with the Heavenly Blade of Death. "Then I'll be called Jiang Zhongming." "It's settled." The Abyss Dragon muttered and retracted his claws and flesh. "I'm a python now." Jiang Changkong. "Yes, that's a good idea." The man and the dragon flew forward quickly, turning into a beam of Yin power and escaping into the universe. They deliberately avoided living beings and went through the dead zones. The Earth Fleet's expedition stopped. Without the near gods, their deterrence was greatly reduced. A message was also sent out. There were no near gods in the universe. Moreover, all 12 Stargate gates were opened. The real chaos was about to begin. News of the universe's resources being blocked also spread. The more stars a force controlled, the more benefits it would reap. For a time, some of the dead stars were also fought over by the major forces. The starry sky was in chaos. 2 months later, the black-robed Jiang Changkong and the Abyss Dragon arrived at the galaxy near the 8th Sea King's homeland. "We'll be there in half a month." Jiang Changkong took out the map and examined it. "I hope you won't disappoint us," the Abyss Dragon said expectantly. Jiang Changkong continued to fly. A few days later, he suddenly stopped. There was a dead star in front of them, but it suddenly released a dazzling azure light. "Let's go and take a look." Jiang Changkong's interest was piqued. The sealed resources had appeared. Jiang Changkong rapidly arrived at the deathly still star. Amidst the green light, countless blades of wind attacked. Jiang Changkong transformed into a bright moon, ignoring these wind blades as he descended. The rich power of the Great Path circulated within the green light, and the mysterious aura of the Great Path was already comparable to that of a star sage. Down below, there was a huge spatial rift that emitted a terrifying azure light. Jiang Changkong and the Abyss Dragon entered and frowned. Someone was here before. There's still a lingering aura. After saying that, the power of the Imperial Heaven Scripture swept out, but did not find any traces. This was an azure world, and there were azure wind blades everywhere. There were many palaces, and a few figures shuttled back and forth in the palaces. Jiang Changkong led the Abyss Dragon into one of the palaces, and a tyrannical might of the Great Path swept over. The power of Yin flowed, and the patterns of the Great Path dissipated. However, the interior of the palace lit up with azure patterns, releasing an even stronger attack. Jiang Changkong waved his hand and directly shattered the star formation. Pieces of star crystals, medicinal herbs, and some golden substances appeared inside the palace. After putting away the palace, he went to the next palace and once again shattered the star formation with a palm strike. It was empty inside. There was nothing. The next palace still had nothing. Jiang Chankong's imperial heaven scripture swept across and directly shattered these formations. Many of the palaces were empty. The few figures were still shuttling back and forth in the palaces, soaring in the wind, unharmed. Wind elemental cultivators. Jiang Chankong could only speed up and surpass them to search for the palaces behind. It's them. The abyss dragon's eyes flashed. The remnants of the starry sky, the people of the wind bloodline. One of those wind elemental cultivators was Feng Qixing, who was now an early-stage star path cultivator. Well, ignore them. Jiang Chankong did not have any grudges with the wind bloodline. It depended on who had the ability to take more treasures. Avoiding the people of the wind bloodline, Jiang Chankong swept through the palaces one after another. The cultivators of the wind bloodline were fast, but Jiang Chankong was even faster. In just a few breaths, he had swept through several palaces. After a few minutes, Jiang Chankong and the people of the wind bloodline had swept through everything. The cultivators of the wind bloodline also saw him, but they did not disturb him. He was able to shatter the star formation and take the treasures with his own strength. The strongest among them, the middle stage star saints, were no match for him. After taking out the treasures, they returned and left the planet. The cultivators of the wind bloodline ran the fastest, afraid that Jiang Chankong would find trouble with them. Jiang Chankong couldn't help but laugh as he followed behind. Boom! With a loud sound, the body of the wind bloodline star saint exploded, and a strong force spread out and poured into the ground. There is someone outside. A startled shout rang out, and the cultivators tumbled down one after another, their bodies cracking. Jiang Chankong's figure flashed, and he raised his hand to catch Feng Qixing. Long time no see, Feng Qixing. You are from Earth. Feng Qixing looked surprised, and he quickly drank a bottle of medicine to heal his injuries. Enter the wind bloodline. Come out, or you will die in my next move. Two figures floated in the void, and the sky was full of thunder and lightning, covering the whole planet. It's the people of the thunder bloodline. With an angry shout, the middle stage star saints who had exploded regrouped, and their expressions were cold. Dogs of the thunder bloodline. The warriors of the wind bloodline looked angry. It seems that your relationship with the thunder bloodline has not developed well since you returned to your homeland, Jiang Chankong said lightly. The thunder bloodline has joined the East Sea Divine Kingdom. But who are you? Feng Qixing stared at him. The celestial kingdom of Earth hasn't fought here yet, Jiang Chankong said indifferently. The East Sea Divine Kingdom? You can call me Jiang Changyue. Jiang Changyue? Impossible. Jiang Changyue is a woman. Feng Qixing shook his head. Who told you it was me? Jiang Chankong said calmly. How about we make a deal? What deal? Feng Qixing was stunned. I will kill them, and you will give me your harvest. I only want the top ones. Another angry shout came from above. Enter the wind bloodline. Come out. Are you trying to test my patience? No problem, as long as you can do it. Feng Qixing said without hesitation. They cannot even keep their lives, so what use do they have for resources? That's a deal. Jiang Chankong raised his palm, and a sword light shot up. Wind bloodline boom. The lightning in the sky was slashed apart. A figure exploded and turned into minced meat, falling down. Jiang Chankong soared into the sky and caught a ring. In the sky above the stars, the lightning dissipated. There was still a white-haired man with a cold expression. Who are you? The celestial kingdom of Earth, Jiang Changyue. Jiang Chankong said calmly. How dare you? You dare to ruin my business. The white-haired man roared. A golden sword light slashed down, filled with great Dao patterns. Late-stage star Dao. You're a bit lacking. Death Heavenly Blade. Jiang Chankong said indifferently. A great blade light flashed. Seeing the light dissipate, the great blade light landed on the white-haired man without any resistance. The white-haired man's body shook, and he turned into dust that scattered with the wind. Chapter 433. The danger has been resolved. Hand over the resources. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. Feng Qixing and the others didn't hesitate to hand over the resources they had just obtained. The Thunder Vein is nearby. Jiang Chongkong took the resources and asked, "Did you send all of them to the East Sea Divine Kingdom?" "Yes. The Thunder Vein is a few days away from here," Feng Qixing said and sent him a map. "I look forward to meeting you next time. You'll be a member of the Earth Divine Kingdom." Jiang Chongkong turned into light and left. "Do you know that guy, the Warriors of the Wind Vein?" asked Feng Qixing. "No. He's Jiang Chongkong's best friend and the most mysterious warrior on Earth. He's even more mysterious than a god," Feng Qixing said seriously. The Wind Vein still had news about the near true god, but for Jiang Zhanya, apart from Jiang Chongkong, almost no one knew about him. Every time he appeared, he was next to Jiang Chongkong. Was Jiang Chongkong here too? Jiang Changyue had just killed a late-stage star saint from the East Sea Divine Kingdom with one slash. Was he already a peak star saint? Jiang Chongkong left with the Abyss Dragon. "The Thunder Vein is on the way. Why don't we wait for 2 days and destroy it?" "Okay, don't damage the body again," the Abyss Dragon said. Jiang Chongkong smiled. "Don't worry, I'll only kill it this time." The Abyss Dragon continued to lie on him, confused. "Brother Kong, your slash just now looked like the great path of death." "Yes, this is the heavenly blade of death." Jiang Chongkong started to introduce his heavenly blade of death to the Abyss Dragon. Everywhere it passed, it left no life, completely annihilated. He could kill a peak star saint, let alone a late-stage star saint. There would definitely be a peak star saint in the Thunder Vein, but he was not afraid at all. He was invincible as long as a god, and his 3 combat bodies were not here. A few days later, Jiang Chongkong saw a thunder star. He took the Abyss Dragon into the star and opened his 3 combat bodies. Taiji, Taiyin, Heavenly Blade of Death. The 3 great Daos condensed into a bright moon. The moonlight illuminated the entire star, and wherever it passed, the vitality of all living things was severed. Who dares to trespass the lightning vein? An angry roar resounded through the air, for figures roared as they charged forward, and the sky was filled with lightning. However, before the lightning could descend, the moonlight had already dissipated. Earth's immortal kingdom, Jiang Changyue, come and destroy the lightning veins. Jiang Chongkong stepped on the bright moon. Boundless starlight dissipated, and great Tao patterns spread out, covering the entire star. Kill! 4 Thunder Vein martial artists charged at him at the same time. The heavenly blade of death whistled out, splitting the void and shattering the great path of the Thunder Vein martial artist. The 3 powers of the great path intertwined, and the Taiji absorbed the power of thunder to strengthen the blade aura. Boom! One of the quasi-meridian cultivators bore the brunt of the attack. The force of the saber light entered his body. He did not seem injured on the surface, but his life force was rapidly dissipating. What a strange blade technique. Everyone, be careful. The expression of the peak star Saint martial artist changed. The power of this blade radiance could actually destroy his life force. If this power of the great path was not eliminated, he would not be able to recover. Jiang Chongkong raised his eyebrows. It seemed that he could not kill a peak star saint with one move yet. However, it was enough to crush them. The heavenly blade of death rose again, shattering thousands of lightning bolts. The 3 great paths intertwined, destroying everything. A Thunder Vein martial artist opened his mouth. It was not blood, but his internal organs that had turned to dust. Endless blade radiance surged around Jiang Chongkong, and the moonlight under his feet continued to release endless blade radiance. Billions of stars floated in the blade radiance, and the endless great path was hidden within. With one slash, a martial artist was directly cut in half, and his life force was fading. Dodge! Don't touch this blade radiance. The other 3 shouted in anger and fear. The heavenly blade of death killed without injury. Jiang Chongkong's expression was indifferent. Thousands of blade radiance flew out, and these martial artists could not dodge. Boom! Another slash fell, and the martial artist that was cut in half completely lost his life force, and his soul was also extinguished. Run! The three martial artists' scalps went numb. They had not fought for long, and a peak star saint had fallen just like that. You can't escape. The bright moon under Jiang Changkong's feet suddenly split open, turning into endless blade radiance that swept out. The bright moon blade radiance turned into a bright moon world, trapping the three peak star saints within. With a thought from Jiang Changkong, thousands of blade radiance attacked the three. Another bright moon appeared in his hand, releasing blade radiance that extinguished the life force of this star. Thousands of blade radiance fell, and the Thunder Vein martial artists were destroyed one after another. Jiang Changkong raised his palm, and thousands of souls flew up from below to search their souls. The Thunder Vein martial artists had defected to the East Sea Divine Nation, and they had even betrayed the Earth Celestial Nation. More than 1,000 star saints? There were only a few dozen that did not exist. They had come up with ideas to sow discord between the Earth Celestial Nation and the Golden Feather Race, and were willing to be the vanguard to destroy Earth. Many martial artists of the Thunder Vein martial artists and the East Sea Divine Nation had gone to conquer other forces and plunder resources. After reading this information, the soul-stabilizing tree's roots spread out and devoured the souls. Under the thousands of blade radiance, the three peak star saints did not last long and turned into three corpses. Jiang Changkong collected the resources and threw the corpses to the Abyss Dragon. He flew down, and the power of the Imperial Sky scripture spread out. Everywhere he passed, all those with cultivation were killed, leaving only ordinary people. He came to the Thunder Veins resource storage area and opened it, collecting the resources inside. Thousands of moonlight condensed and turned into a stone tablet with the words Jiang Changyue carved on it. After doing this, he left with the Abyss Dragon. There were many resources here. Some had been processed, and some had not. This time, he went directly to the 8th Ocean King's homeland. He would go in his seclusion there and digest the Thunder Veins resources. The 8th Ocean King, the Flood Dragon King's homeland. There were more than a dozen stars, but now there were only 2 left, and they were still dead stars. The path had shrunk, and it was shrouded in darkness. Maybe there's nothing left. There's no light at all. There are no resources to put in. The Abyss Dragon was a little depressed. That's why we have to go. Jiang Changkong pondered and said, if the array is still useful in the 8th Ocean King's ruins, do you think the resources will come out? The Abyss Dragon's eyes lit up. Yes, there were only 2 possibilities. Either there were no resources, or no one had discovered them. After entering a star, Jiang Changkong took out the bone map. Buzz! The bone map seemed to sense something and released a blue light. The boundless darkness also had traces of blue light. Splash! The sound of waves suddenly rang out, and the boundless blue sea gradually appeared. A water dragon rushed up from below and swallowed them along with the bone map. Jiang Changkong's vision blurred, and he arrived in another space. The Crystal Palace was the same as the Sea Race's royal palace. Outside was the deep blue sea. It looks like we have more preferential treatment than the Merfolk King's territory. The Abyss Dragon looked at the Sea Race's royal palace before looking at the coral trees on both sides. There is no aura of the corpses. Let's go. This place might be different. The palace doors are open. Jiang Changkong walked over. The palace doors were wide open, and there was a throne inside. He easily passed through the coral forest without any danger. When he stepped into the hall, it was empty. Aside from the throne, there was nothing else. There are also no 3 doors in the surroundings. There's nothing here. Did someone beat us to it? The Abyss Dragon frowned. Could there be other bone maps? Let's try this throne first. Jiang Changkong walked over to the throne. The shining golden throne had Tao patterns intertwining on it, and a flood dragon was carved on it. Countless years had passed, but this throne still looked new. There were no signs of time. Chapter 434. Jiang Changkong had just arrived beside the throne when a blue barrier appeared, blocking his way. The bone map glowed faintly, and the blue barrier disappeared without a sound. He sat on the throne with the bone map in his hand and the abyss dragon on his shoulder. Buzz! The bone map shot out a beam of blue light towards the top of the palace. Rumble! The entire Sea Clan palace shook. A suction force suddenly came from the throne beneath him. The man and dragon were swallowed up by the suction force. After falling for an unknown amount of time, Jiang Changkong and the abyss dragon fell into the water. A water dragon caught them and rushed straight into the depths. Deep underwater, a flood dragon sank into the ground like a mountain range. Jiang Changkong and the abyss dragon were like ants before this flood dragon. The flood dragon exuded a dense pressure of the great Tao. Fortunately, the bone map dissipated the pressure. Is this one also alive? The abyss dragon asked carefully. There's no sign of life, but strangely, there's no aura of death either. Jiang Changkong frowned. The water dragon had already stopped, turning them into seawater in front of the flood dragon's head and merging with it. Rumble! The dragon opened its mouth, and the surrounding seawater shook violently. Jiang Changkong and the abyss dragon's vision blurred, but they were in another world. A young man sat on the throne, looking at them coldly. The 8th Ocean King, Flood Dragon King. Jiang Changkong's expression changed as he cupped his hands. The young man said slowly, "From Earth, yes. I accidentally found the Ocean King bone map and came here," Jiang Changkong replied. He didn't feel any aura from the Flood Dragon King. It was as if he didn't exist. "Do you have the power of Een?" the Flood Dragon King asked again. "I cultivate the power of Een," Jiang Changkong replied. He was puzzled. Shouldn't he have the 3 great battle bodies? Back then, I was good friends with the first Ocean King. The world changed, and the first Ocean King went to the celestial world. I stayed behind. The Flood Dragon King stood up and walked slowly to Jiang Changkong. "You just need to answer a few questions of mine, and you can have everything here. Please speak." Jiang Changkong raised his eyebrows slightly. Wasn't this too easy? He thought that he would experience some danger or something, but he didn't expect that it would only be a few questions. "There are 3 immortal scriptures here. Which one do you choose?" The Flood Dragon King waved his hand, and the 3 immortal scriptures floated in the air. One was the Supreme Combat Physique, one was the Ocean Emperor's scripture, and one was the Wind Emperor's immortal scripture. "I don't need to choose," Jiang Changkong calmly said. "I've obtained your inheritance. This is all mine. If you don't choose, you will fail this question," said Flood Dragon King coldly. Jiang Changkong looked at the ultimate battle body and said, "According to legend, only those with the ultimate battle body can achieve immortal ascension. Did you pass the test by choosing this one?" The 3 immortal scriptures dissipated, and the Flood Dragon King asked again, "If you become an immortal, what will you do?" "If I become an immortal, those who submit will prosper, and those who defy will die," Jiang Changkong said coldly. "You also have 3 great combat physiques." Flood Dragon King's expression fluctuated slightly. "You can say that. I have quite a few Tao physiques." The 7 great Taos around Jiang Changkong appeared one by one. "The so-called ultimate battle body is nothing in front of me." "Very well. If you become a peak near God, and you have to give up your life to open the gate of immortality for all, will you be willing?" "Give up my life to open the gate of immortality?" Jiang Changkong frowned. "The one with the ultimate battle body who survives will still die. It's a slim chance of survival, but if you don't do it, you will never become an immortal. Then I'll kill all my enemies and leave my people behind. I will only give up for my people." Jiang Changkong's expression turned cold. "So be it for the sake of all living beings in the world. If only the near gods of Earth were left, he could open the gate of immortality. Moreover, he might not die. If there was no other way, he could plunder the world's resources and open it after he became an immortal. Was it because the gate of immortality was closed that he couldn't become an immortal now?" Flood Dragon King was silent for a moment. "I hope you keep your promise and open the gate of immortality, no matter who you do it for. If I can't become an immortal in this world and live forever, I won't let myself die of old age," Jiang Changkong said lightly. Near gods couldn't live forever. Only immortals could. In the end, he still had to open the gate of immortality. Then go. The Jiao Dragon King sighed and dissipated. The space shattered and the scene shattered. Jiang Chongkong and the underworld dragon appeared in front of the dragon's mouth again. Everything just now was an illusion. A long saber emitting a terrifying chill floated in the Flood Dragon King's mouth. Jiang Chongkong was shocked. The long saber buzzed and flew in front of him. Holding the long saber, the moon chill instantly spread and the surrounding lake water froze. The scabbard was engraved with images of a jade toad, a moon, and a laurel tree. He slowly pulled it out, and a stream of chill entered Jiang Chongkong's forehead. Some images and information flowed into his mind. The fourth deity artifact, the Blade of Moon, and it was a complete deity artifact, but its power had been sealed. He needed to become a near god to unlock it. Right now, it could only be considered a top Star Sage weapon. But even so, the sharpness of the saber far surpassed that of a near god artifact. 4 deity artifacts, the twin swords of Yin and Yang and the Battle Palace mountain-splitting axe. But the Blade of Moon had been preserved by Flood Dragon King and sealed in his body for those on Earth to take. The news of the Blade of Moon hadn't spread. The first Sea King had left it behind with a secret art before he left. Even the ancient near gods didn't know this secret. As for the deity scriptures before, they were all fake. A sharp pain came from his palm. Golden blood flowed out and merged into the saber. In an instant, he felt a bloodline connection as if they were one. The deity artifact had recognized him as its master. This Flood Dragon King really left me a big gift. Jiang Chongkong carried the Blade of Moon on his back. Apart from the Blade of Moon, there was also the Flood Dragon King's collection and some top resources. Jiang Chongkong took the Underworld Dragon to find the Flood Dragon King's treasure. After leaving, the Flood Dragon King's body dissipated, turning into countless blue spots of light that merged into the sea. What a pity. A near god. The Underworld Dragon was a bit regretful. If Flood Dragon King was alive, he would definitely be a peak existence in the universe. Back then, he could become an immortal only for the first Sea King. That's why he stayed to protect the Blade of Moon. Jiang Chongkong sighed, feeling a bit emotional. Back then, the first Sea King had wanted to take Flood Dragon King away and arrange for other near gods to protect him. But Flood Dragon King had insisted on keeping it. The other near gods might have used the deity artifact for themselves and ruined their plans. The Blade of Moon was left behind to open the gate of immortality and strengthen their ability to protect themselves. With only 3 deity artifacts, the chances of survival were almost zero. That was why the first Sea King had secretly kept the Blade of Moon. Of course, it was for selfish reasons. It was left behind for Earth. After all, Earth was the first Sea King's territory. If it were anyone else, Flood Dragon King probably wouldn't have given the Blade of Moon to them. Regarding this matter, Jiang Chongkong was very excited. Even if they were to die in the future, they would be the ones laughing in the end. Even if they died, they would kill the other near gods first to avoid trouble after death. When they arrived at the Flood Dragon King's treasure palace, Jiang Chongkong and the Underworld Dragon were both shocked. There was too much. There was even a huge pile of golden matter, coupled with what he had obtained from destroying the Thunder Veins. Jiang Chongkong felt that he could definitely become a late star saint. He was invincible in the universe. Chapter 435. The near god back then didn't have as much territory as the current one. But times were different. Back then, resources were abundant. There were many incomplete immortal-grade treasures in the Flood Dragon King's collection. One near god was the first Ocean King's confidant. The former East Sea Planet Region Lord was a true immortal. The Flood Dragon King had followed the first Ocean King and obtained a lot of resources. But he didn't want to become an immortal and was willing to guard this place. In the end, he was seriously injured in the Interstellar War. He died. The dead Flood Dragon King didn't forget his mission. He used his body to guard the immortal artifact until someone came to take it. This person could be anyone on Earth, as long as they had the power of the moon and could control the Taiyin Celestial Blade. There was a pile of golden materials and some herbs that were also immortal grade. Of course, These herbs are also damaged and their grades dropped, but they could still be considered top near-god herbs. Carefully putting away the herbs, Jiang Changkong planned to keep them and bring them back to Earth. He couldn't use them, but his compatriots could. Some of the resources hadn't been processed. Fortunately, he had brought equipment. What's this? The abyss dragon rummaged through the treasures and found a blue oval stone with interweaving great Tao patterns. Jiang Changkong touched the stone. The tiny blade on his back vibrated and the stone exploded. It turned into a screen made of star power. Many divine dragons appeared on it. They had antlers on their heads and snake-like bodies. Their eyes were like stars. The dragon's whiskers swayed like pillars, shaking the starry sky. Above the starry sky, there was a dazzling golden light. These divine dragons all rushed into the starry sky and disappeared. Is this the legendary immortal world above the starry sky? Jiang Changkong thought. The gate of immortality was also above it. As the divine dragons left, some immortal artifacts and immortal treasures also left the starry sky and flew into the starry sky. Only the 3 immortal palaces remained in the starry sky. The Taiyin Palace, the Taiyin Palace. Countless near-gods were searching for the 3 immortal palaces. They didn't know what they had found inside. The near-gods controlled the immortal palaces, summoned stars, and attacked the starry sky. And the Flood Dragon King appeared at this time. He still had the immortal power left by the dragon race. He used an immortal weapon to forcibly start a war that swept across the starry sky. The pitch-black canopy covered the starry sky, obscuring the golden light in the starry sky. At the same time, it swallowed up the 3 palaces. What happened next was exactly the same as what he saw when he obtained the triple light divine pearl. The dark starry sky swallowed everything. The 3 immortal palaces shattered. Near deities fell, stars exploded. A terrible war broke out in the starry sky, and the entire starry sky was dragged into it. After an unknown number of years, some of the ancient near-gods who participated fled into the starry sky to recuperate from their wounds. At this time, the Flood Dragon King still had some energy left, and it shook the entire starry sky. The 12 Stargate suppressed the starry sky and isolated the star region. Those ancient gods were all thrown into the isolated area. At this time, the Jiao Dragon King's injuries had worsened to the point where it could no longer be treated. He sealed the information. The divine weapon in his hand was also completely shattered, leaving only the bone map, which he threw into Earth. There was still some immortal god power left, but the Flood Dragon King's life had come to an end. In the end, the Flood Dragon King used the last of his immortal god's power to seal this place. Only a true immortal god could enter this place. The scene dissipated, and the oval stone also turned into starlight and disappeared. I think I know what the Flood Dragon King said about opening the celestial gate and what the near gods are going to do. After reading the information, Jiang Changkong's doubts were also solved. Those near gods were hoping that the ultimate combat body could open the starry sky and go to the legendary celestial world. It was the golden light that cut off all chances of becoming a celestial. He was the strongest, which was why Hua Tianrui said he was the greatest hope. However, the news they received should only be the ultimate combat body. They didn't dare to put all their hopes on him, a variable. They wanted to train him and the ultimate combat body separately. If the ultimate combat body didn't work, then let him go. If the ultimate combat body could do it, then he wouldn't be needed. Brother Kong, let the ultimate combat body do it, the Nether Dragon muttered. A group of ancient near gods controlled the 3 great immortal palaces, but they didn't open the celestial gate. An ultimate combat body? No matter how the Nether Dragon thought about it, it didn't seem reliable. The Flood Dragon King also said that opening the celestial gate might be the same as opening the Stargate. Once it was opened, the counterforce would be unbearable, and they would be crippled even if they didn't die. Since it was so dangerous, of course, they should let the ultimate combat body do it first, and they could follow behind to become celestials. We'll see. Anyway, I won't court death until I become a celestial god. Jiang Changkong said indifferently. No matter how bad it had to be perfect. Once it was perfect, he would become a celestial god. At that time, he would first get rid of the unstable factors. The man and the dragon started to deal with the resources. Jiang Changkong planned to cultivate in seclusion here until he became a late-stage star saint. The Flood Dragon King's collection was more than 260 million, which would be 6 billion before he broke through. There was no problem in becoming a late-stage star saint. Jiang Changkong gave the bone map to the Nether Dragon. If it was bored, it could go to the Flood Dragon King's ruins. With the bone map, it could do whatever it wanted. The Nether Dragon didn't have a corpse now, and it didn't want to cultivate in seclusion, so it took the bone map and ran away. Jiang Changkong extracted his essence, qi, and spirit and began to cultivate in seclusion. First, he maxed out his martial arts. After spending 140 million, he still had more than 100 million left. Time passed again. Jiang Changkong's secondary body was also slowly improving under the guidance of many celestial gods. The secondary body's improvement was not because his talent was terrible, but because of the secondary body's limitations. It was good enough that it could improve, and there were no treasures. Cultivation was very slow. Jiang Changkong did not expect the secondary body to improve as long as it could hold back the celestial gods. In the starry sky, the real battle had finally begun. It was another battle that swept across the starry sky. The East Sea Divine Kingdom, the West Sea Divine Kingdom, and the Earth Divine Kingdom had not yet decided when another 7 nations appeared. 10 divine kingdoms and divine kingdoms fought. The battle in the starry sky had begun again. Because there were no celestial gods participating, this battle was not as fierce as before, but it was still very fierce. Hundreds of stars were turned to ashes and disappeared. All kinds of celestial killing arrays appeared on the stage. One genius after another jumped up to participate in this battle to become a celestial god. Not only did the pressure on the Earth Divine Kingdom not decrease, it increased. Because the news spread, some of their allies also began to feel a little emotional. More than 1,000 star sages were fake. They were all tricked. As long as the celestial gods did not appear, Earth could not suppress them. Fortunately, the Golden Feather race was reliable and shared a lot of the pressure. But even so, it was still a headache for Nanyang. He wanted nothing more than to become a celestial god and kill everyone. In fact, he wanted to switch places with Jiang Changkong. He wanted to be nurtured by the celestial gods and become the emperor of the divine kingdom. Time passed, and another half a year passed. The East Sea Divine Kingdom, the West Sea Divine Kingdom, the South Sea Divine Kingdom, and the North Sea Divine Kingdom were at war. Earth also joined in forcefully and occupied a place. The major nations used the resources released by the celestial gods to build starry passageways, making it much easier to fight. Under such circumstances, Jiang Changkong finally succeeded in his seclusion. Not only did he reach the late stage, but he also perfected a martial art. Chapter 436. Jiang Changkong, late-stage star, sage top rank, middle-grade martial arts. Indestructible golden body. Desheng, 1 out of 122. 5 million Tai Chi Sutra. Desheng, 122. 5 million/122. 5 million Sun Sutra. Desheng, 1/122. 5 million Taiyin Sutra. Desheng, 1/122. 5 million Death Heavenly Blade. Desheng, 1/122. 5 million Imperial Heaven Sutra. Desheng, 1/122. 5 million Cloud Taoist Sutra. Desheng, 1/122. 5 million Top Rank Middle Grade Array Art. Battle Body Star Formation. Incomplete Desheng, 1/122.5 million Essence, Qi, and Spirit. 10221888. His Taoist body was condensed, and the star power in his body was like stars. Jiang Changkong was not in a hurry to leave. He looked at the 2 figures in his own star. A golden crow and a jade toad. Guardians, do you want to come out and meet me? Jiang Changkong asked. He was worried that the 2 had left something in his body, just like Hua Tianrui. There was no response, nor any change. Jiang Changkong frowned. Could it be that he was thinking too much? Since that was the case, he didn't care anymore. He would leave first. Next, he would take the Abyss Dragon back to his homeland. Jiang Changkong opened the treasure chamber and walked out. The Abyss Dragon was lying at the door. Seeing him come out, he quickly took out a pile of herbs and star crystals. That's all I found. It's not bad. Thank you, Brother Dragon. Jiang Changkong put away the resources, which added up to 10 million star crystals. The Abyss Dragon said, I found a passage which should lead to another star. Someone must have been there. The space passage left by the 8th Sea King? After saying that, Jiang Changkong went over with the Abyss Dragon. They came to the entrance of the passage with a bone map. The power of the Great Law had not completely dissipated. It can still be used. I went there once, the Abyss Dragon said. Without the bone map, you can't enter. Jiang Changkong nodded. The two stepped into the space passage. Flying at full speed, it only took him 2 days. In just 1 day, he arrived at another star. There was also a sea race royal palace here, but there was no water. This was a fake tomb. The coral forest in front of the palace had been destroyed. In front of the palace gate, there were star characters carved. The immortal kingdom of the West Sea has come to offer sacrifices to the 8th Sea King, said Ao Qing, the Grand Emperor of the West Sea. Divine nation of the Eastern Sea, the Sea King is unjust and biased towards Earth. I want to use my strength to prove that Earth is just an ant, said Huang Qianlin, the great emperor of the Eastern Sea. Strength. Jiang Changkong sneered with a hint of disdain. He was now a late-stage star saint, and as long as his 3 great battle bodies were not close to God level, they would not be a match for him. Let's go. We're going to pass by the East Sea Divine Kingdom. Maybe we'll meet them. Jiang Changkong left the planet with the Abyss Dragon. The Abyss Dragon lay on its shoulder and also mocked, these idiots. What's the point of fighting to the death? They're not even as good as you, Brother Kong. The 3 great battle bodies are also very powerful. If I could form a Taoist body, my strength will go up another level. Jiang Changkong flew out of the planet, found the right direction, and went to the East Sea Divine Nation. Then I'll have to become your disciple to learn it, the Abyss Dragon said. Jiang Changkong shook his head. Not necessarily. There must have been a way to form a Taoist body in the era of the Immortals, but it was lost. He did not think that the Immortals did not know about this. If he could think of it, the Immortals would have done it long ago. Passing by a star, Jiang Changkong scanned it with his mind and saw almost everything inside the star clearly. Stargate. Jiang Changkong was surprised. This star actually had a stargate, and there were all kinds of creatures communicating inside. With a thought, he brought the Abyss Dragon to the star. The power of the heaven-controlling scripture spread out, and Jiang Changkong found a mid-stage star saint and searched his soul. Oh, looking through the information in the other's mind, Jiang Changkong frowned. Now, all the major countries had built stargates. Among them, the West Wilderness country was formed by the Star Demon Coalition. The lives of over 1,000 star sages on Earth were exposed, and they suffered a great blow. Now, the Celestial Nation on Earth was only struggling with the local forces and the Golden Feather race, and was known as the weakest Celestial Nation. The Celestial Nation on Earth had already retreated to somewhere near the stars, and the allies of the Golden Feather race were also disloyal. The people of the Wind bloodline actually chose to help the Celestial Nation on Earth move over. The Star Demon race of West Wilderness hated the Celestial Nation greatly and wanted to destroy them. West Wilderness' 3 great combat bodies was a Star Demon. The other Celestial Nations had more than 2,000 Star Sages, and the number was still increasing. Having lost the protection of the Immortals, the major forces were also looking to the Celestial Nations for protection. Over 100 Star Sages did not feel safe in this era. Jiang Changkong sent the information to the Abyss Dragon. Apart from this, Jiang Changkong's information was also sent out. The owner of the 3 great combat bodies was a variable. This variable would not appear again and would not affect their development. After digesting the information, the Abyss Dragon asked, "The situation is really chaotic now. Brother Kong, should we go back to the Celestial Nation?" Go back for what? If I go back, Nin Yuan will not be at ease. Jiang Chongkong sighed softly. I'll go with you to the eastern wilderness and find the Yellow Springs bloodline. Good. I really want to see what the Yellow Springs bloodline is like now. The Abyss Dragon's eyes were full of anticipation. But are you really not worried about the safety of Earth? Your friends are all there. There's no use worrying. If I go back now, won't I just tell those immortals that this body is fake? Jiang Chongkong put his hands behind his back and said indifferently, when we return from the eastern wilderness, I'll take you to the western wilderness. Good, the Abyss Dragon said in pleasant surprise. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon arrived at the Star Passage. The two guards had already been controlled by the heaven-controlling scripture and allowed them to pass. If they wanted to go to the eastern wilderness, they had to go to the headquarters of the Eastern Sea Divine Nation, Desolate Sea Planet. It meant that the eastern wilderness and the East Sea formed a planet. According to the memories obtained from the Soul Search, among the 10 nations, only the immortal Desolate and Divine Desolate didn't have a supreme combat body. Only some factions from those two regions had joined the nations. The specific reason was unknown, and Jiang Chongkong didn't bother to investigate. 3 days later, Jiang Chongkong walked out of the Star Passage with a Grandine saber on his back and the Abyss Dragon, heading to the Star Passage to the eastern wilderness. The entire Desolate Sea Planet had a great array of immortals set up. They had turned the planet into a great killing machine. Many cultivators guarded the planet. Many cities floated in the sky. Cities in the sky. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon appeared in the city on the ground. The cultivators only glanced at him and didn't pay attention. There were many strange beings here, so it wasn't strange for them to wear black robes. Only the Grandine saber on his back caught their attention and made them feel extraordinary. Walking in the city, the buildings here were not much different from those on Earth. They were all tall buildings. Great victory. The East Sea Divine Nation conquered 10 planets, killed 30 star sages of the southern wilderness, and captured 12. The East Sea Divine Nation officially formed an alliance with the West Sea Divine Nation. Grand Marshal Ding Hai, on an expedition to Earth's celestial nation, conquered 8 planets, killed 10 celestial sages, and captured 3. The Eastern Baron Grand Marshal signed an alliance treaty with the Western Baron Star race. A series of messages rang out in the city, causing Jiang Chongkong's footsteps to slow down slightly. The Abyss Dragon sighed. I'm afraid I'll have to stay for a few more days. Jiang Chongkong clenched his hands behind his back. Should I kill the East Sea Emperor? He should kill him before he became a god. Chapter 437. The Abyss Dragon nodded. It really wanted to taste the East Sea Arch. It hadn't tasted the 3 war body cultivators yet. Then let's try. Jiang Chongkong used the Imperial Heaven Scripture to search the souls of the people of the East Sea Arch Kingdom. Apart from Earth's cultivators, there were also captives from the southern wilderness. The East Sea Arch Kingdom was mainly dealing with the southern wilderness. The Earth Arch Kingdom had only sent 1 general. The North Wilderness, the Arch Kingdom, hadn't moved yet. They only occupied the Space Gate and kept a low profile. Planet Tianhuang and Planet Tianhuang had formed an alliance. South Sea and North Sea had formed an alliance and were fighting with Planet Tianhuang and Planet Tianhuang. The captured Star Saints would be executed in the holy city of the East Sea, the Arch Kingdom, if they didn't submit. The holy city was the largest city in the sky and the core of the Desolate Sea Star. They had to go to the holy city if they wanted to go to the eastern wilderness. To go to the holy city, apart from those with jobs and official positions, the others needed an identity and a cultivation level of top cultivators. These were easy to get. Jiang Chongkong went to the registration department of the East Sea, the Arch Kingdom, and got a new identity with the Imperial Heaven Scripture. Humans of the East Sea, the Arch Kingdom, Jiang Chongyue, Sky Snake. There were still many cultivators in the East Sea, the Arch Kingdom, who hadn't joined the army. After that, Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon went to the Holy City and found a hotel to stay in. The staff here were all Peak Star Saints, and the guests were all top cultivators. Most of them were Star Saints. Many were from other countries. Jiang Chongkong used the imperial heaven scripture, and spread it across the entire holy city. With his current strength, it wouldn't be a problem for him to spread the imperial heaven scripture all over the planet. He wondered if he could explode a star with one punch like a god. Oh, with the imperial heaven scripture, Jiang Changkong found a girl with blue eyes and hair. She had escaped from the mid-stage star saint of the West Sea when they fought for the peerless battleship. He only paid attention to her for a while and then stopped. As he continued to expand, many creatures appeared in his mind. At the peak of the holy city, at the top of the tallest building, a young man suddenly opened his eyes. 3 types of great Tao intertwined around him. Who dares? The young man waved his hand, and countless runes appeared around him, isolating Jiang Changkong from peeping. Interesting. Desolate forest of the East Sea Divine Kingdom. Jiang Changkong opened his eyes with an indifferent expression. This great emperor of the divine nation actually discovered you. The nether dragon was a little surprised. I'm only using the imperial heaven scripture. It's normal for him to find out. Jiang Changkong opened and closed his eyes, endless stars floating in them. But he still can't find me. I saw a place just now. Let's go take a look. What place? The abyss dragon was puzzled. Jiang Changkong smiled and didn't say anything. The next moment, a man and a dragon appeared in front of the building. The Earth Immortal Embassy was sent by the Earth Immortal Nation to be stationed here. Next to it were the buildings of the West Sea, the South Wasteland Immortal Embassy, and so on. All of the 9 great nations had people stationed there. Of course, there were differences in treatment. The West Desolation Star Demon God Kingdom and the West Sea Immortal Kingdom were clearly treated better. Inside the Immortal Embassy, the Earth martial artists had ugly expressions. They had lost again. 4-star path martial artists and an early-stage Star Sage martial artist were discussing in the conference room. Sir, General Shui Dingpeng is an important official of the Celestial Nation. No matter what price we have to pay, we must redeem them. A Star Path martial artist had a solemn expression. Sir, how many resources did His Majesty give us? Redeem. The East Sea Divine Nation didn't just want to bring back captives to be killed. They also wanted resources. It wasn't easy to raise a Star Sage. If they wanted to redeem them, they would have to hand over resources. If the resources were too little, then sorry, they could only be executed. Yes, we must save them no matter what. Our Earth Celestial Nation doesn't have many Star Sages to begin with. We can't lose them. The other 3-star path martial artists echoed. Please be quiet, the 4 of you. The early-stage Star Sage raised his hand and sighed. I also want to save them, but we don't have many resources to begin with. His Majesty can only give us 100,000 level 11 resources. Among them, only 10,000 are top-grade level 11, and the rest are low-grade level 11. One of them is a top-grade Star Sage. I'm afraid these resources won't be enough. The 4-star path martial artist's expressions changed slightly. Shuedingpeng's status in the Earth Celestial Nation wasn't low. With another top-grade Star Sage, these resources were simply not enough. It's not enough for even one. The early-stage Star Sage's eyes were red. The East Sea Celestial Nation will definitely demand an exorbitant price. Then what should we do, Bang? The door of the conference room was violently smashed open. A figure of a star demon with blood-red eyes stared at them coldly. Behind the star demon, there were 3 star demons with strong auras of the Great Path. They were all Star Sage martial artists. Western Wilderness Star Demon, what are you doing here? The 5 of them stood up at the same time and stared at them angrily. Now leave this place. Leave? Stupid human, you have to understand that this is not your Earth. The leader of the Star Demon sneered. He walked in and pulled a chair to sit down. Do you want to save them? If you beg me, I might help you. Get out, or I'll call the East Sea Patrol. The early-stage Star Sage said coldly. You are really heartless to your own people. The Star Demon sneered, his eyes cold. Call whatever you want. Who do you want to help? The Western Wilderness Star Demon had already formed an alliance with the East Sea Divine Nation. If the East Sea Divine Nation's army came, they would only stand on their side. The faces of the 5 people from Earth darkened. They didn't say a word. The Star Demon sneered. More than 1,000 star sages. You really dare to brag. You even broke my stupid little ball. Ha! More than 1,000 star sages. Why don't you send them out? The other 3 star demons laughed. If there were more than 1,000 star sages, the Earth Celestial Nation would have developed a long time ago. Although these countries claim to have more than 2,000 star sages, they only had this number recently after absorbing the major races. The real Earth star sages of the East Sea Divine Nation only had about 200. The 5 of them were so angry that their bodies trembled, but they could not say anything. They regretted listening to Jiang Changkong back then. You are done with your taunting. You can leave now, the early stage star sage said, gritting his teeth. If they couldn't win, they could only swallow the humiliation. Are you really not going to save them? We really are here to help. The star demon smiled coldly. As long as you promise us one thing, we promise to release the 3 star sages without a scratch. The 5 of them looked cold. The early stage star sage said coldly, what good can a star demon do? Let me finish first. It's a simple thing. As long as your Nan Yang kneels and kowtows to us, die. Bang! The 5 of them were sent flying as soon as they rushed out. They crashed into the wall, causing sparks to fly as they fell. Why ask for trouble when you're so weak? Isn't there an old saying on Earth? Endure hardships to taste the courage. What's the big deal about making Nan Yang kneel and kowtow? That makes sense. Go out and kneel then. An indifferent voice was heard. The 4-star demon froze and flew out the window uncontrollably. Bang! They landed on their knees, creating a hole. They kowtowed heavily. Who are you? The 5 of them got up, looking confused. They didn't know the black-robed man in front of them. A wandering warrior from Earth, wandering the universe, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Chapter 438. Wandering martial artist from Earth. The 5 were taken aback, then said excitedly, Are you really a martial artist from Earth? What's your name? Jiang Changkong waved his hand. Forget it. Is the celestial nation on Earth that weak now? Ever since the news that the 1,000-star saints were fake spread, many major forces have rebelled. The 5 sighed helplessly. His Majesty Nan Yuyang treated them equally, but all he got in return was betrayal. I heard that the Golden Feather clan didn't rebel. Did the Wind bloodline go there too? Jiang Changkong asked. The 5 fell silent and didn't answer. Please show us your proof. Some secrets cannot be answered, the early stage star saint said. You 5 pigs, my brotherhood is not from Earth. The dark dragon rushed out unhappily. However, it was a snake now, so no one could recognize it. Sorry, we can't tell you without proof. The 5 shook their heads firmly. Jiang Changkong was silent for a moment, then sighed. I really don't know how to prove it. Fine, I'll ask Shui Dingpeng later. The 5 sighed in relief and cupped their hands. Thank you for your help, but the star demon is too powerful. Please be careful. I have something to ask you. It shouldn't be related to Earth's secrets, Jiang Changkong said lightly. Please ask, the 5 said politely. Do you know where Jiang Changkong went? Why can't I contact him? Jiang Changkong asked. Jiang Changkong? I heard that he was taken away by the gods and trained in secret, the 5 replied. The early stage star saint asked doubtfully, Why do you want to know about Jiang Changkong? Nothing. Goodbye. Jiang Changkong said and left. Before leaving, the 4-star demon were still kowtowing, surrounded by many people. Some star demon rushed over and tried to pull them up, but they were pushed back by a force. Ants of Earth, come out immediately and remove your sorcery. The star demon shouted angrily, but didn't dare to enter. People from other countries just watched and didn't participate. Kneel, Jiang Changkong said calmly. The star demon in front of the door knelt down and kowtowed continuously. The star demon's eyes glazed over and their consciousness blurred. Who are you? The blue-eyed woman asked, her eyes filled with vigilance. The people from the various countries all looked at him in puzzlement. Earth actually sent a powerhouse over? Jiang Changkong put his hands behind his back and hid under the black robe. Earthling. With that, he left. The people from the various countries were slightly startled, but no one stepped forward. The strongest person in their group was only a middle-stage star saint. The star demon that knelt and kowtowed had no shortage of mid-stage star sages. After Jiang Changkong left, the 5 people in the conference room fell silent. After a long while, the early-stage star saint martial artist finally spoke. Are there star saints on Earth who are wandering outside? According to the records, there is only one, Jiang Changkong. However, he has already been taken away by the near gods, the 4-star Taoist replied. Then who could he be? Who did we overlook? The early-stage star saint martial artist frowned and thought hard, but he could not think of anyone. Could it be someone from another country who is deliberately putting on a show for us? Trying to obtain the secrets of the celestial nation? One of the star Taoists said, "It's not impossible. The celestial nation is in danger now, and we must be careful with every step." The early-stage star saint martial artist said in a low voice, "I will write to the East Sea Divine Nation and try to save as many as I can." Which one should we save? The conference room fell silent again. Which one should they save? Each of the 3 star saints was influential and had a high status. They wanted to save all of them, but now they barely had enough resources to save one, and they had to ask the East Sea Divine Nation to be merciful. After returning to the hotel, Jiang Changkong sat down cross-legged and kept an eye on the situation in the holy city with the Imperial Heaven Scripture. This time, he avoided the desolate forest of Thousand. The various countries were very curious about Jiang Changkong's identity, and they all inquired about it. His registered identity was quickly found out. Jiang Changwei. Jiang Changwei. Jiang Changkong is gone, and now Jiang Changwei has appeared. At the peak of the holy city, Huang Qianlin, who was wearing a dragon robe, listened to his subordinate's report and said coldly, "I want to know all the information about Jiang Changwei." "Your Majesty, the Star Race's envoy and the West Sea's envoy have arrived." A martial artist entered the peak of the holy city and reported respectfully. "Let them in," Huang Qianlin said indifferently. Soon, a blue-eyed young girl and a black figure, the Star Demon, entered the palace and said respectfully, "Greetings to the East Sea Divine Nations, the Arch. I hope that the Arch can ascend to immortality soon and live forever. Dispense with the formalities." Huang Qianlin's body emitted an intense pressure, and he said expressionlessly, "Envoys, what's the matter?" Replying to the Arch, "We're here for Jiang Changwei. We hope that the Arch can give the order to send troops to capture Jiang Changwei." The 2 envoys said at the same time, "Send troops?" Huang Qianlin's expression did not change. Is a mere Jiang Changwei worth going to war? Even the 2 envoys can't capture her? The 2 envoys might not be able to capture her, but they also had peak star sages behind them. There was no need for them to ask him for help. Replying to your Majesty, Jiang Changyue's strength is not weaker than Jiang Changkong's. Back then, Jiang Changkong could already kill mid-stage star sages. Now, Jiang Changyue is probably even stronger, the blue-eyed young girl said with a solemn expression. AOU requests your Majesty to activate the formation to prevent her from escaping. She wants our peak star sages to suppress her, and the Empire's army will assist. Huang Qianlin smiled coldly and stood up. Even the deities say that Jiang Changkong is the true demon-level genius. If he had participated in this war, he would have been the victor. Now, Jiang Changyue, who is not much weaker than him, has appeared. The Arch. There is no need to speak further. I want to see whether this Jiang Changyue has the guts to rescue her. I want to let those deities know that they are all wrong. Only I am the final victor. Huang Qianlin's expression was cold as he said proudly, "No matter how talented he is, it is impossible for him to reach peak star sages." The 2 exchanged a glance and fell silent. Before coming, they had already tried to get peak star sages to awaken the star demon, but they had been unable to do so. They had also been unable to break the technique that Jiang Changyue had left on their bodies. Jiang Changyue's strength had already surpassed peak star sages. If the deities were not stupid and what they said was true, then this Tharch might not be a match for Jiang Changwei. Let's talk about Jiang Changyue's identity. I am curious about him, Huang Qianlin said indifferently. Huang Qianlin said indifferently. The one who had spied on him earlier should be this Jiang Zhangyue. The arch, Jiang Changyue and Jiang Changkong, are friends who have gone through life and death together. The star demon understood this information very well. A group of them had returned from Earth, so they knew a lot about Earth. Jiang Changkong is a peerless monster, but Jiang Changyue is superior because he comprehended the Great Tao first. Moreover, Jiang Changyue is extremely mysterious. There is very little information about him, and no one knows whether he is a man or a woman. Apart from Jiang Changkong, even deities cannot find him. Until now, no one has seen his true appearance, and those who have seen him are all fakes. The star demon finished speaking in one breath, his expression grave. Aoyu's expression was equally grave. This meant that Jiang Changyue could no longer be described as frightening. He was simply terrifying. He is just an ant hiding in the darkness. I will kill him. Huang Qianlin was still confident. Only the 3 great battle physiques could be a match for the 3 great battle physiques. Jiang Changkong had the 3 great battle physiques and a group of deities, so Huang Qianlin could endure it. However, Jiang Changyue had appeared, so he could no longer endure it. Chapter 439. This time, the captives of southern wilderness from Earth are unwilling to submit and have insulted your majesty. After discussion with the officials, they will be executed in the holy city in half a month. This voice resounded throughout the entire desolate sea star. Jiang Changkong, who was sitting cross-legged in the hotel, naturally heard it as well. They haven't even been brought back, and there's no ransom process. Yet they're going to execute them? Abyss Dragon was surprised. This wasn't normal. Didn't they say that they should give the 2 nations a chance to ransom the captives with resources? Jiang Changkong had a smile on his face as a voice sounded in his ears. Jiang Changyue, I'll be waiting for you. If you really have the ability, take them away. Huang Qianlin was wearing a dragon robe as he looked up at the sky, as if he was looking at Jiang Changkong. This unlucky child, didn't he suffer enough? Jiang Changkong said indifferently and didn't reply. Since this East Sea Emperor was so confident, he could only satisfy him. He hoped that he could withstand a few moves from him. He wants to spar with me. Let's wait for half a month. After saying that, Jiang Changkong closed his eyes. Abyss Dragon didn't say anything else and lay down at the side. The people of Southern Wilderness and Earth panicked. They had prepared resources and were about to submit a petition, but they were beaten back. Southern Wilderness was the most miserable. They were completely implicated and only wanted to exchange resources for their captives. In the end, because of Jiang Changkong's ruckus, East Sea Emperor Huang Qianlin wanted to execute them. Save them? I'll give you a chance. Let's see if you dare to come. In half a month, the envoys of the 2 nations tried everything they could, but couldn't see Huang Qianlin. Either he didn't accept the resources or he didn't do anything. Their friends who could drink and eat meat in the past had all alienated them this time. Only the Star Demon were still kneeling and kowtowing. The East Sea Emperor didn't come a try. Whether he could save them or not, he had lost face. If the East Sea Emperor couldn't solve it, he would lose even more face. The West Desolate Star Demon would worry about this. The East Sea Emperor didn't care. The arrays in the Holy City were also activated. The entire Desolate Sea Star entered a state of preparation. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Shui Dingpeng and the other 2 star sages were imprisoned in the air by the patterns of the Great Tao. The 12 star sages of the southern wasteland were also beside them. The Great Tao patterns were like chains piercing through his body. His wounds could not heal, and blood flowed down. 30 top star sages were gathered there. Some of them were from the East Sea Divine Nation, and some were from the West Sea and the Southern Wilderness. Huang Qianlin sat on his throne, looking at Shui Dingpeng and the others in the sky. Jiang Changyue, I'm giving you a chance. He's already here. Do you have the guts to come? Huang Qianlin's voice resounded throughout the entire holy city. The 3 peak star sages hovered in the air with cold expressions. Jiang Changyue. Shui Dingpeng's body trembled, and he raised his head slightly. The great Tao chain shook. A wave of intense pain transmitted over, but he forcefully endured it, not releasing a trace of sound. The other two star sages also held themselves back. On the other hand, the late-stage star Sacred Realm let out a terrifying scream. Miserable shrieks spread throughout the holy city, causing one's scalp to go numb. Buzz! A beam of moonlight flickered, and a wave of extreme coldness swept over. Moonlight sprinkled down from the sky. A black-robed figure carrying the moon saber on his back stepped on the moonlight and arrived at the place of execution. How courageous! Huang Qianlin sneered. Take him down, and I will reward you handsomely. Kill! The 30-star sages roared at the same time. Intense Dao might swept out and instantly charged toward the figure in the sky. Jiang Changyue, leave quickly. Shuet Dingpeng let out a long howl, and blood gushed out of his mouth. Clang! The response was a shocking voice, followed by a godly might that seemed to be able to destroy everything and stand above all living things. How could this be? Huang Qianlin immediately stood up and looked at the saber excitedly. An immortal artifact. A fourth immortal artifact that should not exist. Although the pressure was not intense, the saber intent that erupted was not weaker than the moon sword fragment. The moon sword in his hand trembled violently. This was the reaction between immortal artifacts. His sword was only pieced together from fragments, while the moon saber in Jiang Chankong's hand was a complete immortal artifact. Its power was sealed, waiting for the moment to be unsealed. However, even if its power was sealed, ordinary weapons could not compare to it. Its amplification to those of the same level far surpassed that of top star sages' weapons. Death Heavenly Saber. The moon saber was unsheathed, and the image of a bright moon appeared. A will that could destroy everything enveloped the entire sacred city. The Death Heavenly Saber left only death in its path. The moon shadow and the death saber slashed out forcefully. Stellar power flowed and turned into stars. Billions of stars turned into a saber. The saber slashed down, and the 30 peak star sages were sent flying at the same time. Blood splattered everywhere, wherever the saber radiance passed. The chains of the great path that pierced through their bodies broke. The sacred city shook, and countless veins appeared to block the saber radiance. Rumble! Rumble! The veins of the great path were destroyed layer by layer. The veins on the ground were also being destroyed. The invisible saber radiance actually ignored the veins of the great path and struck the ground of the sacred city. Not good. This saber radiance is strange. The 30-star sages spat out some powder at the same time, and their bodies emitted a dense aura of death. The domineering saber radiance was destroying their internal organs. A formless power supported Shuet Dingpeng and the southern desolate martialists as they slowly descended. The saber radiance dissipated, and the veins of the great path fell silent. Huang Qianlin soared into the sky and attacked with both swords. The moon shadow and the sun shadow intertwined. Very good. Your strength is worthy of this emperor's attack. 3 great battle physiques. Not bad, Jiang Chankong said calmly. Huang Qianlin's aura was far stronger than that of ordinary peak star sages. Unfortunately, he was already a late-stage star sage. How about we make a bet? Huang Qianlin stared at the moon saber. Let's hear it, Jiang Chankong said calmly. If I win, you remove the moon saber's master recognition and let it recognize me as its master. If you win, you take your people and leave. The Eastern Sea will not make things difficult for you. Huang Qianlin's expression was indifferent. If he didn't remove the celestial weapon's master recognition, he might not be able to control it even if he killed Jiang Chankong. Sure, Jiang Chankong said calmly. Moon shadow, sun shadow, 3 illuminate the world. His 2 swords shot out blade radiance. Boundless blood chi was the main source. The 3 lights merged into one, shaking the air of the holy city. Death moonlight. Jiang Chankong's blade spun. The moon saber was extremely domineering, and the blade radiance met the power of the 3 lights. There was a loud rumble. The blade radiance and the 3 lights shattered at the same time. Powerful shock waves surged. Fortunately, the holy city was protected by a great formation, so there were no problems. Both sides were forced back. Jiang Changkong's figure paused, and he actually passed through the shockwaves. The moon saber slashed towards Huang Qinlin. Huang Qinlin's two swords vibrated, and the moon sword blocked the blade radiance. Clang! The blades clashed, and both were damaged. Huang Qinlin said coldly, "Even though my sword is not as good as yours, it is made of materials that are close to divine." The celestial weapon that had lost its power couldn't break the moon sword with a single strike. Jiang Changkong didn't care about this. He just wanted to see what the limits of the three great battle physiques were. The blades clashed continuously. Jiang Changkong's figure flickered like a phantom. The three great Tao physiques flowed freely. Whoosh! A blade radiance flashed by, tearing apart his dragon robe. Golden blood flowed out. What else can you do? Show me the limits of the three great battle physiques. You're courting death. Huang Qinlin's expression was one of shock and anger. He was actually the first to be injured, but his opponent seemed to be at ease. Could it be that this wasn't his full strength? Chapter 440. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. The Peak Star Sage's three great battle bodies could fight against his three great Tao bodies. However, if he didn't use his full power, then there would only be one outcome: death. Huang Qinlin's expression was furious. His two swords released two great Daos, and 11 power patterns appeared in his body. Horrifying shock waves spread out, and the blood in his body boiled. Essence Qi shot into the sky, and the three lights gathered again. Three lights destroy the world. Jiang Changkong's expression was calm. The moon saber slashed out, turning into a sharp blade. Death moon obscuring shadow. Boom! The saber and sword collided. A strange saber light pierced through the power of the three lights and struck Huang Qinlin. Huang Qinlin's figure flashed, and the patterns of the great Tao interwove around him to block the sword light. On the other side, the power of the three lights also landed on Jiang Changkong's body. The power of the moon swept out, and bright moons protected Jiang Changkong. Rumble! The bright moons exploded, and a horrifying power swept out. The holy city's array was activated again. Huang Qinlin wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his expression was cold. "I have to admit that you are stunning enough, but you cannot shake the myth." "The myth? You?" The bright moons disappeared, and the power of the three lights disappeared as well. Jiang Changkong was still indifferent. Three lights, eternal. The power of the three lights burst out and shot into the sky. Huang Qinlin's long hair fluttered, and 11 power dragons rushed out of his body and merged into the three lights. An extremely powerful aura illuminated the entire Desolate Sea Star. The Desolate Sea Array was activated, and the patterns of the great Tao covered the entire Desolate Sea Star. "Then take a look at my Tao body." Jiang Changkong gripped the moon saber. The power of the moon, the formless death Tao, and the Taiji Tao. The Taiji Great Tao? Huang Qinlin's expression sank. The Taiji Great Tao? Many people in the distance were also shocked. The Taiji Great Tao Jiang Changkong. However, when they thought about the relationship between the two, they understood. They were brothers who had been through life and death, so there was nothing to be surprised about. They were just shocked. Not only did Jiang Changyue comprehend the Taiji Great Tao, but he also cultivated the other three great Tao bodies. "You are really surprising. Jiang Changkong's soul, strength, Taiji body, and sun. As for you, you have a Taiji, Taiyin, and a strange saber." Huang Qinlin wore a grave expression. The power of the three lights seemed to be everlasting as they slashed towards Jiang Changkong. Tai Chi Blade. The distinct black and white saber light was accompanied by the three great Daos, complementing each other. The Taiji absorbed the power of the three lights and fused with an even stronger blade gleam. As the sun and moon gathered, its power increased sharply. Rumble! The Taiji blade flashed, and a shocking power surged. Kacha! The patterns of the great Tao shattered, and the buildings erupted with mysterious light before exploding into pieces. The entire holy city was shaking. The power of the battle between the two of them had already surpassed the limits of the holy city and destroyed the formation. Pucci! Blood splattered everywhere as the sword and saber flew out of their hands. Both of them were sent flying at the same time. Blood splattered everywhere as they crashed into countless buildings. Buzz! The Tyene saber trembled as it flew backward. Then it flew back and landed beside Jiang Chongkong. Rumble! The collapsed building drowned the two of them. The next moment, they rushed out at the same time. The saber and sword clashed again, and starlight swept out for thousands of miles. The strange Tyene saber and the balanced power of the three lights clashed continuously in the air. You are really tenacious, Jiang Chongkong said coldly. The Tyene saber became faster and faster, and it became more and more strange. You are the tenacious one. Among the three great battle physiques, I am the strongest. You are fake, Huang Qianlin shouted angrily, and his expression was somewhat malevolent. Jiang Chongkong didn't say anything else. The taiji around him revolved, absorbing the dissipating power of the three lights. Huang Qianlin noticed this, and his expression sank. You want to forcefully absorb my power of the three lights. Jiang Chongkong didn't say anything. The saber light was extremely fast. Unless Huang Qianlin didn't retaliate, the power of the three lights would be absorbed by him. He was only doing this for insurance. He had already figured out Huang Qianlin's strength. Huang Qianlin was slightly weaker than him, but not by much. If this battle continued, the only one who would emerge victorious would be him. However, as the sovereign of a nation, would Huang Qianlin play normal tricks with him? Jiang Chongkong felt that it was impossible. Huang Qianlin had survived until now, so he didn't seem like someone who would keep his promises to his enemies. The two of them continued to exchange blows. Waves of great Tao energy swept out in all directions. The buildings in the holy city started to collapse, and the two of them continuously consumed their astral power. Rumble! Suddenly, the holy city trembled. Waves of great Tao energy appeared and turned into a prison, imprisoning Jiang Chongkong. Ding! The saber light landed, and the great Tao prison shook. However, it didn't break. Huang Qianlin, are you trying to act shamelessly? Jiang Chongkong said coldly. I am just smarter than you. Huang Qianlin clasped his hands behind his back and said proudly, Now, you have lost. A dignified sovereign of a nation actually used a formation. If word of this gets out, your reputation will be in the gutter. Jiang Chongkong gripped his saber, and his gaze was cold. When I unify the starry heavens, who will know? Huang Qianlin said coldly. I have to admit that you are very strong. However, this is the desolate sea, stars' holy city. You won't be able to break this godly formation. A battle without a godly expert presiding over it can be considered a godly formation. Jiang Chongkong stroked his saber. Since you are so shameless, then let's end this. Suddenly, the power of three lights soared into the sky. The moon Great Tao formed a saber light. The sun Great Tao turned into a sunset. The force Great Tao surged out and turned into a surging qi and blood. A vast taiji diagram contained this power and rapidly expanded. Rumble! The Great Tao prison shattered, and a boundless force swept through the entire holy city. That is my power. Huang Qianlin's expression changed, and he was instantly enveloped by the taiji diagram. Golden blood splattered, and his arms cracked. His swords flew out again. His dragon robe turned to ash, and his body started to crack. Many saber lights pierced through his body. Jiang Chongkong's figure flashed, and the moon saber instantly arrived and landed on the cracked Huang Qianlin's neck. How is it, you? Huang Qianlin had just opened his mouth, and a mouthful of blood mixed with the power of the four Great Tao gushed out. The moon Great Tao, the death heavenly saber, and the taiji Great Tao poured into his body at the same time, forcefully sealing Huang Qianlin's cultivation. Great Emperor, you have disappointed me. Jiang Chongkong carried Huang Qianlin and walked into the distance. Most of the buildings in the holy city had collapsed. Shui Dingpeng and the others had already escaped to the celestial consulate. Release his majesty. Furious roars could be heard as many star sacred martialists surrounded them. If you want him dead, then go ahead. Jiang Chankong's expression was indifferent. I don't mind massacring the Eastern Sea divine nation. Your great emperor is now my captive. Prepare to ransom him. Jiang Chankong carried Huang Qianlin and left. Huang Qianlin's expression darkened, and he almost fainted. He had wanted to capture Jiang Changyue and display his might. However, he had been captured instead, and he had even been defeated by his own power. Jiang Chankong's expression was calm. Previously, he had used his 4 great Dao physiques to break through the godly Great Array and capture Huang Qianlin. As for Huang Qianlin's power, it was just a cover. The group of star sages looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Huang Qianlin said angrily, "What are you waiting for? Do you really want to see me die?" The group of star sages dispersed and hurriedly went to prepare the resources. However, how many resources would it take to ransom a great emperor? There were no previous cases of great emperors being captured. There wasn't even any reference material. This was making things difficult for them. Chapter 441. Within a hotel in the Holy City, Huang Qianlin was casually tossed to the side by Jiang Chankong. He pulled a chair over and sat down. He looked at Xue Dingpeng and the others, who had finished healing. "Thank you, Changyue, for saving us." Xue Dingpeng cupped his hands. The other 2 also cupped their hands in thanks. The 5 from the Celestial Embassy were also present. They carefully looked at Huang Qianlin. They were shocked. Jiang Chankong's brother was truly ferocious. He had captured the East Sea Emperor Huang Qianlin alive. Jiang Chankong waved his hand and said coldly, "Tell me, what happened?" Xue Dingpeng and the others had awkward expressions. "We were defeated and captured. We couldn't beat them. Let this emperor tell you. Nan Yuyang is a piece of trash that can't be helped up." Jiang Chankong opened up such a good situation for him. "With the help of the Golden Feather race's close to 400 star sages, we played the celestial nation of Earth to death," Huang Qianlin said coldly. Huang Qianlin coldly spoke, his face filled with arrogance and complacency. "Slap." Jiang Chankong slapped him and said coldly, "I didn't ask you to interrupt." "You." Huang Qianlin glared at him and tactfully shut his mouth. He was now a prisoner. He could talk after he got out of here alive. If he angered this guy and really killed him, he would be finished. The situation is chaotic now. Ever since the lie was exposed, a group of major forces rebelled. Xue Dingpeng sighed. "We killed some major forces and caused a backlash. His Majesty could only back down." Jiang Chankong frowned and slapped Huang Qianlin again. "What right do you have to hit me again?" Huang Qianlin said angrily, his eyes full of humiliation. "Sorry, I wanted to knock you out." Jiang Chankong slapped him again, this time knocking him out. Xue Dingpeng and the others felt their faces twitch. "How ruthless." "Continue," Jiang Chankong said coldly. "After that, the major forces betrayed us. Only the Golden Feather race and their allies are helping us. However, the situation has deteriorated. Some of the Golden Feather race's allies are also wavering." Xue Dingpeng sighed. "His Majesty is under great pressure. He can only lead us back to the Starry Gate." Jiang Chankong was silent. Xue Dingpeng opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but he didn't. "What do you want to say? Is it related to Chankong?" Jiang Chankong coldly said, "Speak your mind." Xue Dingpeng was silent for a while, then said, "The reason those big powers rebelled was that we lied to them. The treaty doesn't count." "And what do you guys think?" Jiang Chankong's voice was still as cold as before, and no one could tell if he was happy or angry. Xue Dingpeng quickly said, "We don't have any plans. After we return, we will assist His Majesty in subduing them as soon as possible." Nan Yuyang also thinks so. Jiang Chankong's tone became even colder. We don't dare to speculate on His Majesty's thoughts," Xue Dingpeng and the others whispered. "I'll give you half a month to leave. Contact me at any time. Once you're safe, I'll release Desolate Millennium Forest. I'll give you half a month to leave. Contact me at any time." Now that they had the Stargate, half a month was more than enough time for them to escape. They believed that the immortal nation on Earth would send reinforcements. Take care. Shui Dingpeng hesitated, then left with them. After they left, Jiang Chongkong transmitted, "Let them leave. Baron Qianlin will die if anyone dares to stop him. The people of the East Sea Divine Kingdom, let them go." Some star sages even personally escorted them, afraid that something would happen to them. The dragon crawled out and grabbed his shoulder. "Are you going back? Is that possible?" Jiang Chongkong sighed. The dragon fell silent. At least, it was impossible now. If he went back, Nan Yuyang would be on guard against him. Everyone would be on their guard. Had he returned to help Jiang Chongkong take the throne? Even if his secondary body couldn't come out, some people wouldn't trust him. Moreover, the major forces had betrayed him, saying that they shouldn't have lied to him. Many of them were probably from the Celestial Kingdom. Just as Baron Qianlin had said, a great start had been ruined. Jiang Chongkong was silent for a moment, then searched Baron Qianlin's soul. Looking at the images and the information, Jiang Chongkong understood. The real reason for the collapse wasn't Nan Yuyang, but the major forces. Earth's native forces had never been a single entity. They were a federation. Previously, they had been close to a god suppressing them. Now that they were gone, the star sages naturally couldn't hold them back. In the Celestial Palace and Budokai, the major forces were fighting for power. Especially after the sealed resources had been released, some forces had gone crazy for them. Adding to the fact that they hadn't completely suppressed the major forces, their lies were exposed. Some of the great lords were siding with other nations. Nan Yuyang hadn't been ruthless enough. He hadn't dared to kill too ruthlessly, causing these people to become more and more unrestrained. The war hasn't even started, and they're already fighting among themselves. After reading these messages, Jiang Chongkong felt like cursing out loud. Serves them right. He sent the information to the Abyss Dragon. The dragon was shocked. "Isn't this too exciting?" "It is. I'm laughing." Jiang Chongkong sighed. "Forget it. It has nothing to do with us. Let's continue our journey." "How about we build a nation?" the Abyss Dragon asked. "Build with what? Just the two of us?" Jiang Chongkong countered. "If the Yellow Springs branch was still around, we could use the power of the Yellow Springs to build a nation." The Abyss Dragon stood on his shoulder and waved its claws. "We'll unify the starry sky and make those close to a god eat sh*t. I wonder what's the situation with the Yellow Springs branch now." Jiang Chongkong shook his head and sighed. Then, he sent another message to the Abyss Dragon. In Baron Qianlin's memories, the Yellow Springs branch had disappeared long ago. Only a great array remained inside the Yellow Springs star. The Abyss Dragon said, "You'll know when you get there. With your strength, if the Yellow Springs branch still exists, you can definitely suppress them." Jiang Chongkong nodded and said no more. He waited patiently. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, star sages came to deliver resources. Jiang Chongkong took the resources but did not let them go. It was too little. Only 100 million essence, energy, and spirit. To hell with it. The Eastern Sea Divine Nation had been established hundreds of years ago. How could it only have this little essence, energy, and spirit? Because of this, Jiang Chongkong chopped off one of Baron Qianlin's fingers and told him that this little bit of resources was only enough for one finger. The star sages went back to gather resources. Jiang Chongkong looked at Baron Qianlin's Taiyang sword. These two weapons both had immortal artifact fragments. He would not hold back. Another 2 days passed. Shui Dingpeng and the others had safely left the Eastern Sea Divine Nation. The star sages came again. This time, the resources were very generous. There was a total of 800 million essence, energy, and spirit. The medicine and herbs were not included, but it was the same. One finger. Then he went back to gather resources. This amount of resources was almost enough for him to become a peak star sage. But now that he had such a rare opportunity, why not get more? He wanted to see how many resources a divine nation had. Half a month passed, and the star sage came again. His expression was serious as he took out his spatial ring. "That's it." Jiang Chongkong looked at the resources. There was another 200 million, which added up to 1 billion and 100 million. The divine nation has been fighting all these years, and the daily consumption is incalculable. This is already the limit. The Star Sage was almost begging. We really can't take out any more. Please let His Majesty go. Jiang Changkong was about to say something, but his face, hidden under the black robe, changed slightly. He stood up and said, "Fine. Since you are sincere, I will let him go. But wait until I enter the Stargate." With that, Jiang Changkong carried Baron Qianlin and left the hotel in a flash, entering the Stargate. "Your Majesty," the Star Sage hurriedly chased after him. If something happened to Baron Qianlin, their path to immortalhood would be over. Chapter 442. I'll return it to you. Jiang Changkong tossed Huang Qianlin out and entered the spatial tunnel with the Dark Dragon. At the same time, the power of the Imperial Heaven Scripture changed their memories. "Brother Kong, why are you walking so fast? Is there trouble?" The Dark Dragon asked. "Yes, the Near Gods receive the news. They really have a way to contact the Near Gods," Jiang Changkong said coldly. Fortunately, his secondary body was there. He could be considered a spy. "Aren't the Near Gods not going to interfere?" The Dark Dragon was puzzled. "Ah, do you think they really won't interfere? These dogs, why become a Near God? They won't have it easy," Jiang Changkong said coldly. This was related to their path to immortality. Would they really not interfere? The Dark Dragon blinked. "Then I'll wait to eat Near Gods." Jiang Changkong smiled and hurried with all his might. These Near Gods really thought they were the heavens and could rule over everything, using the starry sky as a chessboard. They let everyone fight to the death to open the path to immortality. They just had to wait patiently. Did they think they could suppress the ultimate combat physique with their strength and numbers? On the secondary body's side, Jiang Changkong sat cross-legged among the flowers. Many Near Gods surrounded him with unfriendly expressions. Jiang Changkong explained. "What's going on with the Jiang Changwei outside?" A Near God asked coldly. There were no two geniuses. Jiang Changkong and Jiang Changwei were the same person. Jiang Changkong had never shown his power of Yin because he had arranged the identity of Jiang Changwei for himself. But now there was a problem. Jiang Changkong was here with them. Who was the Jiang Changwei who had captured the East Sea Emperor Huang Qianlin alive? Who told you that Jiang Changwei is also mine? Did I admit it? Jiang Changkong looked at them blankly. When did I admit it? The Near Gods. Did he admit it? It seemed like he didn't. There's really a Jiang Changwei? The Near Gods were stunned. There really is. Jiang Changkong asked with a strange expression. What did Jiang Changwei do? Why are you all asking me this question? Jiang Changwei also knows the Taiji Dao. We are friends of life and death. Even if we are not brothers, we are more like brothers. Of course, I will teach him martial arts. Jiang Changkong had a matter-of-fact expression on his face. Moreover, he was the one who taught me how to cultivate the power of Yin. Didn't you say that you were the one who gave me the cold moon art? That's right. His moon talent is stronger, and his training is better. That's why he gave me pointers. Many of the Near Gods fell silent. What the F***CK? Another variable had appeared? Then, does he know the great Tao of Sun and the great Tao of Force? The soul approached and asked. I don't know about that. Anyway, I've taught him before. Whether he learns or not, that's his business. Jiang Changkong shook his head. The Near Gods, did you learn it? We have a premonition that he learned it. The soul approached and frowned. Jiang Changkong, don't play tricks. You receive my inheritance. You should know that I know how to search souls. Ing Liuli silently stood in front of Jiang Changkong. Beside her, there were a few Near Gods. They looked at the soul approached and said, Try it. Jiang Changkong's heart warmed slightly. He said coldly, If you search my soul, I will kill myself. What if the ultimate combat bodies can't do it? Haha. At this point, he didn't say anything more. If the ultimate combat bodies can't do it, then all of you can die of old age in the starry sky. Become an immortal or a god. Don't even think about it. Jiang Changkong, we are friends. We didn't make things difficult for you, Hua Tianrui said softly. Hua Tianrui whispered, We've helped you a lot. Tell us, how do we find Jiang Zhangyue? You want to bring him here? Jiang Changkong frowned. Isn't it better for you two brothers to be together? You can become Near Gods and immortals together, Hua Tianrui said. Jiang Changkong was silent for a while and said, Changyue obtained the bone map of the 8th Sea King, the Jiao Dragon King. He might be there. What good boy. Hua Tianrui smiled and left with the near gods. Jiang Changkong closed his eyes and didn't speak. I'm sorry, but I've been to the homeland of the 8th Sea King. On the other side, Jiang Changkong and the Nether Dragon spent 3 days to reach the Eastern Barren Territory. The Eastern Barren Territory seemed much more desolate. However, Huang Qianlin didn't forget his homeland. He built a star passage here. The man and dragon kept changing paths. After 7 days, they finally arrived at the Yellow Springs planet. Meanwhile, in the sacred city of the desolate sea star, a near god arrived at the East Sea Imperial Palace. Where did Jiang Changyue go? The near god asked directly. She entered the star passage. Huang Qianlin didn't hesitate and pointed in a direction. The near god left immediately. He looked at the star passage and said to himself, From here, it really is the homeland of the 8th Sea King. I'll capture her and bring her back. In the Imperial Palace, Huang Qianlin rubbed his forehead. He felt a little confused. For some reason, he felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't figure it out. A thick aura of death surged. Jiang Changkong and the Nether Dragon entered the Death Star. Apart from the aura of death, there was nothing else here. The Nether Dragon happily carried him through the aura of death. Soon, they reached the surface. Buzz. Many great Tao patterns flowed and sealed the underground. Can you see anything? Jiang Changkong asked. No problem. This is the Yellow Springs Formation. It's in my inheritance. The Nether Dragon nodded. Tao patterns appeared on its body. The Yellow Springs appeared, and the formation's patterns separated. The man and the dragon sank underground. A suction force came. Jiang Changkong didn't resist and let the suction force bring them underground. It was a vast and boundless world. They landed in front of a damaged palace. The rest of the place was empty. Jiang Changkong used the Imperial Heaven scripture but didn't feel any aura. No. Jiang Changkong shook his head. Am I really the only one left of the Yellow Springs lineage? The Nether Dragon said in a daze. Although it didn't have much interest in its homeland, it couldn't help but feel sad after seeing such a situation. Jiang Changkong sighed. He didn't know how to comfort it. The Nether Dragon walked into the palace. It was also empty. There were only broken Tao patterns that occasionally emitted a gray glow. Damn it! Why am I the only one left? The Nether Dragon hammered the floor with its claws. You still have your little brother. We can open the Yellow Springs again. Jiang Changkong couldn't help but say, I'll create 10 Death Stars for you. You'll be the master of the Yellow Springs. Buzz. Suddenly, the broken Tao pattern shone. The Yellow Springs on the Nether Dragon's body fluctuated. Countless evil spirits floated. The Tao patterns danced and turned into star runes, forming a paragraph. If a descendant of a Yellow Springs lineage finds this place, collect countless evil spirits. Head to the Immortal Slaying platform in the Immortal Desolate, pass the test, ascend to the throne of Yama, and open the self-sealed Yellow Springs lineage. The Yellow Springs self-sealed the Immortal Slaying platform in the Immortal Desolate. Jiang Changkong looked at the message and patted the Nether Dragon. Brother Dragon, your clansmen are here. The Nether Dragon was excited. Little brother, the Yellow Springs lineage really still exists. Our immortal kingdom is settled. Do the 10 Death Stars and the Master of the Yellow Springs still count? At the end, the Nether Dragon looked at him expectantly. Forget about 10. I'll make 100 for you. Jiang Changkong smiled. There will definitely be a place for you in the starry sky in the future. Okay, when are we go to the Immortal Desolate? The Nether Dragon nodded. It couldn't wait and want to go now. Can this Yellow Springs formation block the probing of near deities? Jiang Changkong asked. Of course it can. This place has been refined by the Yellow Springs lineage for many years. Although I can't activate it, without my Yellow Springs lineage, near deities can't enter. The Nether Dragon said proudly. Then I'll go into seclusion first. The situation is tense now. When I reach the peak of Star Saint, I'll follow you to the Immortal Desolate and unseal the Yellow Springs lineage. Jiang Changkong muttered. When he reached the peak of Star Saint, he should be able to protect himself against normal early-stage near deities. Chapter 443. Time seemed to be the most worthless thing to a top martial artist. A year, 10, or even 100 years might have passed after a session of seclusion. It had been more than a year since Jiang Chankong had wreaked havoc on the desolate Starfish Star and captured the East Sea Emperor alive. The East Sea Emperor, Huang Qianlin, had become a laughingstock in the universe. He had 3 great battle bodies and was a peak star sage, second only to the near gods. This time, he had lost to an unknown Jiang Changyue and had to use resources to redeem himself. Apart from essence, qi, and spirit, there were all kinds of herbs, medicines, ores, and other resources. When all of them were added up, the number was extremely terrifying. It was enough to tempt any power or person. At first, Huang Qianlin had been furious and locked himself in the imperial palace for a long time. Some said he was too ashamed to come out. Others said he had comprehended a near god Tao. Some said he was in seclusion to study a secret technique, preparing to avenge himself. Jiang Chankong, on the other hand, became famous. A long time ago, Jiang Chankong had killed a mid-stage star sage at the peak of the star Tao. The near gods were afraid of his combat strength and said he was the strongest, far stronger than the 3 battle bodies. At first, some people didn't believe it, including the emperors. But this time, everyone believed Huang Qianlin's story. Jiang Chankong was a friend of life and death. Their strength had always been about the same, but Jiang Changyue had defeated Huang Qianlin. This meant that the near gods weren't lying. The Earth's celestial nation was peaceful for a while. They weren't sure if Jiang Changyue would return to the Earth celestial nation. Jiang Changyue and Jiang Chankong weren't the same as Nan Yuyang. These were 2 murderous stars. If they jumped in front of them, they might destroy them. In addition, just in case, the near gods secretly came to the Earth's celestial nation to wait for Jiang Changyue to appear. The 8th Sea King's old haunt was guarded by a near god. Is Jiang Changyue not here anymore? The god frowned. He had been here for 9 months, and even the Earth Expeditionary Force had come out. But in the end, there was no sign of Jiang Changyue. However, without the bone map, even true gods could not enter. They could only wait outside. Let's wait a little longer. If it doesn't work out, we'll call them over and flatten this place together. The deity's expression turned gloomy as he thought of the stone tablet. At that time, with the help of the many near deities and the stone tablet with the immortal aura, they should be able to flatten this place and find Jiang Changyue. However, this might cause a huge commotion. Death Star, Yellow Springs homeland. The 7 great stars shone brightly, and the 7 great paths flowed. As the patterns of the great paths shone, an extreme pressure swept out. The damaged palace could no longer be maintained and directly turned into dust. The Abyss Dragon's expression changed, and he quickly used the rune to protect himself. The Tao pattern imprint continued to transform, and Jiang Chankong's aura became more and more terrifying. When it saw Jiang Chankong, the Abyss Dragon's eyes were filled with delight. This aura made it feel as if it was facing a true god. Jiang Chankong, who had reached the peak of Star Saint, was extremely powerful. Especially when he was breaking through, he did not suppress his power and unleashed his full power. The Tao patterns were carved, and the aura changed again. 80% of the Tao body was formed, and the entire Yellow Springs array shone, sealing the pressure. The stars of the Yellow Springs bloodline that had been refined for many years also trembled. Just like that, another 3 months passed. Jiang Chankong finally opened his eyes, and the aura of the great path on his body was extremely dense. All the power began to be retracted, and the transformation was complete. Jiang Chankong, Peak Star Saint top rank mid-grade martial art. Indestructible golden body. Perfect. 1/857, 500,000 Tai Chi Sutra. Perfect. 1/857, 500,000 Sun Sutra. Perfect. 1/857, 500,000 Moon Sutra. Perfect. 1/857, 500. 000 Death Heavenly Blade. Perfect. 1/857. 500. 000 Sky Imperial Scripture. Perfect. 1/857. 500. 000 Cloud Dawa Scripture. Perfect. 1/857. 500. 000 Top. Rank Mid-Grade Array Art. Battle Body Star Formation. Incomplete. Perfect. 1/857. 500. 000 Essence. Energy and Spirit. 143351588 inch looks like I really have to attack the country. Jiang Changkong felt the power in his body. The drops of star power were like stars. Every cell was like a star. He could manifest a body the size of a star at any time, but his combat power would not increase. Underworld Dragon left the array. Brother Kong, congratulations on reaching the peak of Star Saint. Brother Dragon, congratulations. In the future, you can kill a peak Star Saint with a wave of your hand. Jiang Changkong smiled and said, I will prepare countless Star Saint corpses for you, and even corpses close to God level. You and I will become immortals together. Brother Kong, shall we go to the immortal barren land to unseal the Yellow Springs? Underworld Dragon said excitedly. It was already looking forward to the beautiful life in the future. It would also become close to God level and set foot on the peak of the starry sky. Let's go. If we want to go to the immortal barren land now, we have to go through the West Ocean Immortal Kingdom or the West Wilderness Star Demon Kingdom. Jiang Changkong took Underworld Dragon and left the Death Star. How about we do it in the West Ocean Celestial Kingdom and the West Wilderness Star Demon Country? Underworld Dragon asked. Sure. With our strength, it is not a problem to rob a country secretly. Jiang Changkong could not stop smiling. He now had 3 Dao bodies, so he could easily deal with them, even if they were cultivators of the 3 battle bodies. He could control the arch to make them hand over their resources. It just so happened that these 2 were old enemies. He also had to prepare the evil spirits that Underworld Dragon needed. He would get them from the West Wilderness. A group of Star Demon did not need to build a country. The human and dragon changed their figures, and the Tai Chi Great Dao enveloped them. To outsiders, they were just ordinary early-stage Star Saints. Using the Stargate, Jiang Changkong would erase the memories of everyone he passed by, leaving no traces behind. He would also search their souls to obtain information and send a copy to Underworld Dragon. Jiang Changkong came to the desolate sea Star Saint City again. He did not stop. The desolate forest was already poor and not worthy of his attention. The situation in space was still the same. There was no change. The human and dragon used the Imperial Heaven Scripture wherever they passed. The souls of the other living beings of the East Sea Divine Kingdom were pulled out and thrown to Underworld Dragon. Underworld Dragon used the Yellow Springs to refine evil spirits. Jiang Changkong almost wiped out all the places he passed. He did not let go of the East Sea Divine Kingdom, the West Wilderness Celestial Kingdom, or the West Wilderness Star Demon's Planet. He gave the Star Saint's corpse to Underworld Dragon, and he kept the top-grade resources. A few days later, the human and dragon entered the West Wilderness Star Demon Kingdom. The Yellow Springs of Underworld Dragon were already filled with evil spirits. This speed was too fast. The Yellow Springs were unsealed, and they only needed to pass the test. In the Imperial City of the West Wilderness Headquarters. Now, let the Star Demon's 3 battle bodies kneel to welcome us. Jiang Changkong smiled, and the power of the Imperial Heaven Scripture swept out, covering the Imperial City of the West Wilderness. The soul power swept out, and everything appeared everywhere it passed. No one noticed. Even the Star Demon with the 3 battle bodies could not sense the power of the Imperial Heaven Scripture. Buzz! Suddenly, Jiang Changkong's expression changed. He brought the Nether Dragon into the Starry Sky Passage and cursed, "Bastards, sooner or later, you'll all suffer." The West Wilderness Star Demon Kingdom actually had a near god. What happened to the near gods not interfering? Just as he guessed, what they said before was all bullsh*t. Others could kill them, and it was because the three battle bodies were not capable. If it really came to that, all the near gods would come out to protect them. Why don't you let the three battle bodies fight each other? What bullsh asterisk T Kingdom? Chapter 444. You've finally shown up, Jiang Changwe. A cold voice was heard as a figure chased into the Stargate. Kaboom! The Stargate exploded, and an aura that reigned over all things in the world swept out. Unable to withstand it, the Stargate collapsed, and the stars in the distance trembled. Two figures, one in front and one behind, rushed out of the Stargate towards the dead stars in the distance. Jiang Changyue, you can't escape. Calm and confident words were spoken. The near god followed closely behind, taking a step forward and crossing the endless space. Jiang Changkong activated all three of his combat bodies, his speed explosively increasing. The near god's expression changed slightly. This speed was only slightly slower than him. Jiang Changkong passed one star with each step, just like when he trained his body to become a near god, going from the moon to the sun in one step. The near god was faster than him. While he couldn't catch up directly, he would be caught up sooner or later. What do I do? What do I do? This near god is too shameless. The Abyss Dragon was completely panicking. Near god was the peak of the universe. Anyone below the near god was an ant. Even the three combat bodies could not change this fact. What a joke. So a bunch of near gods are all vile people who go back on their words. Jiang Changkong cursed as he flew. You've already broken the rules. Return with me now, and you'll be spared the pain. The near god sped up. The boundless power of the great Tao swept out. Some of the dead stars could not withstand it and were completely destroyed. Rules? What a joke. Who made the rules? What right do you have? Jiang Changkong sneered and increased his speed by a notch. We are the rules of the universe. The near god's tone was calm without a trace of arrogance, as if he was stating a fact. The near god was the strongest existence in the universe and could make the rules of the universe. You want them to open the gate of immortality, but do you know that those who open the gate of immortality will most likely die? Jiang Changkong said coldly. How do you know this? The near god's expression finally changed. This was a secret that even the supreme combat physiques did not know about. If they knew that it was a dead end, would those ultimate combat bodies still open the immortal gate? Jiang Changkong said coldly. The 8th Sea King has already left a message. You near gods want to step on their corpses to become immortals. Originally, I wanted to spare your life. But now, it seems that you can only die. The near god elite's body glowed with a dark light, and he finally transformed into a humanoid star demon. His power increased once again. An aura that did not belong to the great Tao of the human world spread out, and the surrounding starry sky shattered. Getting close to the star demon, its speed increased by almost 10%. The distance between the two of them was rapidly closing. Stay here. The sharp claws descended, and a mighty force that was close to that of a god that reigned above all great Taos came crashing down. Jiang Changkong's expression changed. He unsheathed his Tai-Yin saber and activated his three great Taoist forms to the maximum. Boundless Tao patterns manifested, illuminating the starry sky and gathering blade radiance. The power of billions of stars, the endless power of the great path. Rumble. A mighty force that was close to divinity descended, and the saber light exploded. The powerful force landed on Jiang Changkong's body. Crack. His body cracked, and his bones broke. The three great Taos were no match for the might of a near god. Three great war bodies. You are indeed very strong, but a near god is already a god walking among the human world. Near god star demon's movements paused, and some fragments flew out of his arm. Near god, aren't I still injured? Jiang Changkong held the Tai-Yin saber tightly, and his cracked body quickly healed. Those fragments were from the death heavenly saber. A near god would also be injured, but it was just a stronger martial artist. You are indeed amazing, but it's over. Near god star demon shouted coldly, and his mighty force rose again. His sharp claws were like stars, and they enveloped the star region where Jiang Changkong was. You can't do it. Jiang Changkong snorted coldly, and the four great Daos rose. Tai Yin, Tai Yang, and Power Pattern Great Dao gathered three lights. Tai Chi could contain everything. All four great Taoist forms were activated. Boundless might spread out, and an aura that reigned over everything spread out, not any weaker than the might of a near god. Buzz. The Tai Yin saber trembled violently, and a dazzling beam of moonlight shot out. The Tai Yin great Tao that ruled over everything was awakened. Tai Yin deity artifact. As Jiang Changkong's four great Taoist forms were activated, the sealed divine might was finally activated. The bone-chilling cold did not belong to the mortal world. The surrounding space was frozen, and a thin layer of ice appeared on the near god beast's claw. Boom! Two terrifying forces collided, and the terrifying power shattered everything, including the nearby stars. One was a deity that walked the mortal world, infinitely close to a real deity. The other was the four great Taoist forms, which were far more powerful than the most powerful beings, and a deity weapon that could activate part of its divine might. Both sides flew back at the same time. Golden blood flowed in the space like a river. The near god demon's claw still had the remnant power of a deity artifact, and it was difficult to remove it immediately. Near god star demon's expression was extremely gloomy. Jiang Changkong flew back a long distance, and the Tai Yin saber released boundless divine might. Tao patterns shone in the starry sky, and the will of a deity drifted. A near god is so weak. Jiang Changkong's voice was cold. Then, I won't be polite. Today I will kill a near god. The body under the black robe had already cracked, but it healed in an instant. Sunset saber, moon shadow. The Tai Yin and Tai Yang formed the saber light, and billions of stars formed the saber. Tai Chi and power patterns appeared at the same time. He stepped into the peak of Star Saint, and 11 power patterns roared together. Jiang Changkong's martial arts. The near god star demon's eyes became even colder, and he pushed the near god Dao to the limit. Ah, you imprisoned Changkong. I will take revenge for that. The Tai Yin saber released celestial might again, and the saber intent that could destroy everything, and an extreme cold aura froze everything. The Tai Yin saber fell again. This time, there was no explosion, only endless cold air. The cold aura spread along the beast's claw, and the entire star demon was frozen. Jiang Changkong's eyes were cold, and the Tai Yin saber flew straight toward the star demon's heart. Rumble. The near god Dao shook, and it barely broke the cold aura. The near god star demon's body instantly retreated, and he turned into a beam of light and escaped into the distance. He ran away just like that. The abyss dragon was slightly shocked. Was the near god star demon so scared? Jiang Changkong put away the Tai Yin saber, and without saying a word, he left with the star demon. The near god star demon that had escaped far away was covered in moon-chill ice. The extreme chill was currently destroying his near god Great Tao. It was hard to get rid of. Immortal artifact. Damn it, he can actually activate an immortal artifact. The near god star demon shouted angrily, and he hurriedly used the near god Dao to lower the cold aura. Billions of stars away, Jiang Changkong's four great Daos intertwined, and he got rid of wisps of near god aura. A near god really isn't easy to kill. Jiang Changkong's face was gloomy. If I didn't activate the Tai Yin saber's power, I might not have been able to defeat him. The star demon's strength should be at the early stage of near god. Even if he activated the four great Dao bodies, he could only fight on par with him. With the help of the Tai Yin saber, he could suppress him, but he couldn't kill him. That's already very good. The legend that those below near God cannot challenge near God has been broken by you. The abyss dragon said excitedly, once you step into near God, you will also be invincible among your peers. That's not what I want. Next, we will take a detour, and I will bring you to the immortal desolate with all my strength. Jiang Changkong muttered, we will not show ourselves during this period of time. Let them do whatever they want. Chapter 445. It's a pity that the near god ran fast enough. The abyss dragon was still a little reluctant to let go. It wanted to kill that god. You should be glad that he ran, Jiang Chongkong said helplessly. If more near gods are drawn out, we'll be in big trouble. If more near gods were drawn out, they wouldn't be able to run even if they wanted to. The star demon couldn't be blamed for being timid. Even Jiang Chongkong himself couldn't handle the Taiyin Qi. If the Taiyin blade seal divine power could be fully unleashed, the near god might not even dare to take a blow. Our country might be doomed. I don't know what's going on in the immortal desolate. No ultimate combat body has come out. Jiang Chongkong sighed. With our strength, we can't stop a group of near gods for now. Then we can lead the Yellow Springs to support country. Underworld Dragon pondered. Should we hide behind the scenes? Maybe that's the only way. Jiang Chongkong sighed with a hint of helplessness. Now that he was exposed, he might have to face a group of near gods. Although he wanted to do something flashy and turn around to cleanse the star demons of the western wilderness, he still wanted to make a fortune. But he gave up on that idea. If the other side sent another near god, he would have to stay. Half a month later, Jiang Chongkong vanished without a trace again. The universe was vast, and there were no clues. Even the near gods didn't know where he was. The near god star demon had returned from his secondary body. The moon chi on his body had yet to dissipate. Only with the help of a group of near gods was he able to extinguish the power of moon. Could it be that one of the three great combat bodies became a near god and was able to injure you? A near god star demon said in surprise. It's Jiang Chongwei. He can use the four great combat bodies to fight. The near god star demon's expression was extremely ugly. The Taiyin blade in his hand is a real immortal artifact. It can even unleash divine power. You were injured by an immortal artifact? The near god's expression changed. If it wasn't for the immortal artifact, I would definitely kill him. The god star demon said fiercely. Moreover, he has already been to the 8th Ocean King's homeland. We are still a step too late. Hua Tianrui's expression was a little complicated. Where is he now? I don't know. Previously, he attacked the great emperor of the western wilderness because he wanted to obtain resources. Also, Jiang Chongyuan knows that opening the gate of immortality will lead to death. The star demon said coldly. Don't let the people on earth know about this. Hua Tianrui's eyes flickered, and she said in a deep voice, Let's go find Jiang Chongkong. We can't keep Jiang Chongwei alive, a near god said. His secondary body was still in seclusion in the Sea of Flowers and was unaware of their conversation. Looking at the group of deities approaching, the secondary body was a little puzzled. Everyone, why are you all in a mood to visit me? We came to you because of Jiang Chongwei. Hua Tianrui pondered and said, Jiang Chongwei has left the homeland of the 8th Ocean King. Where do you think he will go next? How would I know? Jiang Chongkong was a little amused. I have been locked up here all this time. Do you think I can predict whether or not I have communicated with him? Jiang Chongkong, you better tell us. The near god star demon said with a gloomy face. He had just been injured, and he wanted to get back at Jiang Chongkong. What do you want me to say if I don't know? Jiang Chongkong was not afraid at all. He looked at the star demon mockingly. Maybe, in the next moment, Jiang Chongwei will destroy your western wilderness. Ing Liuli and the others walked over and stood beside Jiang Chongkong. She said lightly, I also think it is possible to destroy western wilderness. This is for everyone to become immortals, for the entire starry sky. Jiang Chongwei has already affected the balance. Hua Tianrui frowned and said, Don't tell me you don't want to become an immortal. Of course I want to, whether it is for myself or for everyone. It's just that I really don't know where Jiang Chongwei is. Jiang Chongkong sighed softly. He looked at the unfriendly near gods and said softly, Why don't you let me out? Then why don't you guess where Jiang Chongwei might go? Let Jiang Chongkong go? Impossible. One Jiang Chongwei outside was enough of a headache. How could they let another Jiang Chongkong out? Moreover, Jiang Chongwei knew too much. They definitely couldn't let him stay. Even if Jiang Chongkong in front of them had become a target that must be killed. But now was not the time. They needed to use Jiang Changkong to lure Jiang Changyue out. The starry sky is vast. How can I guess? Your flower ocean kingdom? Or your territory? Jiang Changkong spread his hands. You're making things difficult for me. Hua Tirue sighed softly and led everyone to the side. Ing Liuli, please come here. Ing Liuli frowned and patted Jiang Changkong on the shoulder. Don't worry, I will protect your life. The other near gods of earth nodded, indicating that they would protect him as well. Whether it was Nan Yang or Jiang Changkong, they were both from earth. Jiang Changkong was the most promising to open the gate of immortality. Of course, they had to protect him. With many near gods gathered, Hua Tianrue said again, I plan to use Jiang Changkong to lure Jiang Changyue out. Huh? We don't agree, Ing Liuli and the others said coldly. Listen to me first. I'm just releasing the news, Hua Tianrue said calmly. If Jiang Changkong is in danger of dying, Jiang Changyue will definitely appear. At that time, we just need to arrange people. Are you really just going to capture him alive? Ing Liuli was a little shaken. Of course, this time I personally found Jiang Changyue. I didn't have the heart to kill him, so I let him escape. The star demon's face didn't even change when he lied. Ing Liuli and the others looked at each other and agreed. If the near gods really wanted to kill, no one under the near gods should be able to escape. Thinking of this, these people probably wouldn't kill him. The near gods of earth agreed. In the sea of flowers, Jiang Changkong closed his eyes again. On the other side, the stargate of the immortal wilderness was already in front of them. Jiang Changkong and the abyss dragon were about to pass through the stargate when a blue light flashed and directly engulfed them. The towering city emitted blue light. There was a palace. On the throne, a woman in a dragon robe, wearing a crown on her head and long blue hair draped over her back. She had a delicate face and a towering chest. On the blue scepter, there was a sapphire inlaid on it, and water vapor filled the air. We meet again, human Jiang Changkong. She walked down the throne barefoot. Her tall and slender body was a few centimeters taller than Jiang Changkong. Mermaid King, I really can't hide anything from you. Jiang Changkong's heart skipped a beat. The tying saber trembled slightly. The scepter landed on the tying saber, and the Mermaid King said softly, This is something that Brother Ba left behind. It's not for you to use against me. Jiang Changkong frowned slightly. It seems that the Mermaid King's injury has completely recovered. The Mermaid King had a deep relationship with the Yellow Spring clan. It was not surprising that he knew the Yellow Spring clan sealed itself in the immortal wilderness. However, he didn't expect that the Mermaid King would be waiting here for them. I still have to thank you for your help. If it weren't for you, I would still be recuperating. The Mermaid King put away the scepter and said softly, I came to you to give you a new identity. New identity? Jiang Changkong raised his eyebrows. What do you mean? The strongest battle body from the immortal wilderness. The Mermaid King smiled. How about this identity? Jiang Changkong pondered and said, You seem to know a lot about the immortal wilderness. Chapter 446. The Mermaid King waved her hand and the air rippled. A cracked golden bone appeared. An ethereal aura spread from the bone, as if it was above all living things. A weak power of 3 lights floated out from the golden bone. It did not look like the bone of a living being. The Mermaid King tapped the bone with her scepter. The air rippled and a woman appeared. Her face could not be seen clearly. She was dressed in white and her body was illusory. 1,000 years ago, a near god was born in the immortal wilderness. They were pursuing the 3 great combat bodies. The Mermaid King said calmly, She opened the gate of immortality, and only this bone is left. Jiang Changkong's expression was solemn. How powerful was she when she was alive? In terms of power, she was the most powerful, be it in the past or now. The Mermaid King said indifferently, How do you think you are compared to her? If I became a peak near god, I would be above her. Jiang Changkong said honestly, But I don't have much confidence after seeing what happened to her. A near god with the 3 great combat bodies ended up like this. Jiang Changkong thought that he was unparalleled, but he did not dare to be too confident. Only I know about this. They only know that opening the gate of immortality with the three great combat bodies means death. Only by opening the gate of immortality can one succeed. A cold look appeared on the Mermaid King's exquisite face. But the fusion method will not succeed. Will not succeed? Jiang Changkong's expression changed. Isn't there a fusion method for the three palaces? It's incomplete. It's just a defective product deduced by the immortal god. If it really succeeds, in your words, it will be a blessing from the ancestors. The Mermaid King said indifferently. Jiang Changkong's expression darkened. So, opening the gate of immortality was all fake. The underworld dragon could not help but crawl out and ask, then how can the gate of immortality be opened? A real immortal god, or the last one with the three great combat bodies, the Mermaid King said indifferently. Didn't you say that it can't be opened? Jiang Changkong was even more confused. With the starry sky, it can be opened. The Mermaid King's face turned frosty. Do you think these celestial kingdoms and god kingdoms are their entertainment? Mermaid King, please tell me everything. Jiang Changkong cupped his hands and said. After a moment of silence, the King of Mermaids said, when there is only one cultivator with the three great combat bodies left in the universe, the last cultivator of the three great battle physique will be able to summon the three great immortal palaces after unifying the universe. The three great immortal palaces contain three great light formations. Once they cover the entire starry sky, they could forcefully borrow power. He borrowed the power of countless living beings in the starry sky to forcibly fuse them together to form the most powerful combat body. And this fusion was only temporary. It should be enough to open the immortal gate. However, the backlash from opening the immortal gate would affect the entire cosmos, causing it to be destroyed. The most powerful war body would also die. After all, it was only a temporary fusion and couldn't last long. Those close to the immortal realm hid under the formation and used the formation to block the disaster. They took the opportunity to ascend to the immortal realm and become immortal gods. As for the future starry sky and the countless living beings, they were already gone. The starry sky and living beings no longer existed. They were all the cornerstones for them to become immortals and gods. Why would an immortal god leave behind such a method? Jiang Changkong's expression was ugly. This was equivalent to destroying the entire starry sky. I don't know. The Dragon King told me that this was the last resort. The King of Mermaids shook her head. She also didn't understand. This person in the immortal wilderness couldn't bear to destroy the starry sky to achieve himself. So he chose to open the immortal gate alone. So what you want me to do is to forcefully fuse them? Jiang Changkong frowned. What will you choose? Even with the three light formation, your friends won't be able to survive unless they reach the immortal realm. The King of Mermaids looked at him, waiting for his answer. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. If I answer and forcefully fuse them, the King of Mermaids will probably kill me here, right? The King of Mermaids nodded expressionlessly. I want you to destroy the three light formation. Even if you can't become an immortal, you can't destroy this part of the starry sky. You underestimate me. If this person in the immortal wilderness can open the immortal gate alone, why can't I? Jiang Changkong said coldly with a proud expression. He could open the immortal gate after he became an immortal god. The King of Mermaids nodded in satisfaction. All right, I'll wait for that day to come. If you dare to destroy this part of the starry sky, even if you become an immortal, I can still deal with you. Destroying this part of the starry sky is also my enemy, Jiang Changkong said firmly. I won't tolerate it. I'll send you to the Yellow Springs lineage now. Unseal the Yellow Springs and participate in this game, the King of Mermaids said. Wait a minute, King of Mermaids. How did you recognize me? Jiang Changkong asked curiously. Others could not tell at a glance, but the King of Mermaids seemed to know everything. He called out his real identity the moment he arrived. Moreover, he was sure that it was not a guess. It told me. The King of Mermaids knocked the Tai-Een saber with his scepter. Back then, I spent a lot of time with it. Thank you for answering my question. It seems like the Dragon King has many tricks up his sleeve, Jiang Chongkong said with a smile, but he kept his guard up. None of these old monsters were easy to deal with. If they were to fall out in the future, he would break this immortal artifact first. I'll cover for you from the near deities. It's been 1,000 years, and no one remembers this person. The king of mermaids pointed his finger, and the bone entered Jiang Chongkong's body like a stream of light. The near deities don't know. You can use this identity without worry. After the bone entered his body, Jiang Chongkong's body had a special aura, an aura that belonged to the immortal barren land. What's your name? Other than Jiang Chongkong and Jiang Chongyue, it's up to you. The king of mermaids waved his hand, and the void rippled. A golden stargate appeared in front of them. The king of mermaids is indeed rich. Why don't you give me some more resources? Jiang Chongkong said expectantly. The king of mermaids did not say anything. A force stuffed him and the underworld dragon into the stargate. What a stingy mermaid. Jiang Chongkong cursed in his mind and left quickly. The king of mermaid strength was not something a near deity could compare to. He had lived since the immortal era and was definitely a near deity. 2 days later, the man and the dragon passed through the stargate. In a star field, thick death energy lingered and the patterns of the Grand Tao were hidden in the void. The underworld dragon's body was filled with death energy and corpse energy. Whoosh, whoosh. All kinds of strange roars were heard, and countless evil ghosts floated in the yellow spring. Buzz. The patterns of the Grand Tao appeared in the void, and an eerie gate appeared with countless ghosts dancing inside. The gate of Yellow Spring had opened. Roar. The underworld dragon roared and brought Jiang Chongkong into the gate of Yellow Spring. Thick ghost energy surged. Yellow Spring underworld dragon? The ghosts fled in fear. They were just ordinary ghosts, and they had no problem dealing with ordinary living beings, but they only felt fear when facing a star-sane underworld dragon. Even Jiang Chongkong's imperial scripture of heaven couldn't reach the end of the boundless dark space. Roar! Long howls rang out as netherworld dragons flew out one after another. Huge ghostly shadows appeared in the air. Death energy surged and roared in response to the underworld dragon. Are the clansmen from outside here? A voice sounded like thunder. Above his head, a huge face appeared, like the curtain of the sky. The day of the Yellow Springs release has arrived. Many ghosts appeared, and their auras were terrifying to the extreme. The underworld dragon trembled. There were many more powerful than it. Jiang Chongkong looked at the face in the sky with a serious expression. It was ancient and close to a deity. Definitely. The Yellow Spring strength was far more terrifying than he had imagined. He wondered if, for the sake of the Nether Dragon and the Sea King, he could build a nation with the help of the Yellow Springs. Chapter 447. After countless years of recuperation, the self-sealed Huang Quan bloodline had become shockingly powerful. At the very least, Jiang Chongkong had never seen a race that could compare to the Yellow Springs. The Yellow Springs was divided into 2 paths, the Ghost Path and the Corpse Path. In the Tao of Ghosts, there were 4 people who were close to true gods. The most powerful one was Ghost Mother, who was close to true gods and was the best friend of the Mermaid King. Among them, there were nearly 100 Ghost Tao Star Sages. Then there was the Corpse Tao, which had 5 near true gods. The strongest was the Netherworld Abyssal Dragon, which was also near true gods. There were over 100 Star Saints. Although this power might not be comparable to other celestial kingdoms, it was enough to thrash the celestial kingdoms of Earth. It could be said that the Yellow Springs bloodline was comparable to any celestial nation's forces. 9 deities, close to 200 Star Sages. However, it was not easy to gain their support. The Dusty Palace was opened, and 9 near gods sat on either side of it. Nobody dared to sit on the throne, because that was the position of the Lord of the Yellow Springs, the Yama King of Hell. Even the 9 true gods were not qualified to sit on it. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon stood in the center of the palace and were watched by the 9 gods. Over the countless years, some of our clansmen have returned. Do you think you can become the master of the Yellow Springs? It was a woman with a deathly pale face. Her eyes glowed with a dark green light. This was the Ghost Mother, who was close to the limit of God. The other young man's eyes were suffused with dense corpse energy. Little fellow, I will not agree with you just because we are both of the nether dragon bloodline. This was an abyss dragon that was close to the limits of a god, and it had taken human form. The abyss dragon was a little timid and could not help but shrink behind Jiang Changkong. The faces of the 9 deities were filled with disappointment. How could such a coward become the master of the Yellow Springs? Jiang Changkong also felt a little embarrassed. He brought up the abyss dragon. What if it can help you all become immortals? Hee 3 great battle bodies? The 9-year deities sneered. The one in the immortal desolate had already used his life to test the 3 great battle bodies. Only death awaited him. They no longer had any expectations for the 3 great battle bodies. In fact, they had even given up on the thought of immortal ascension. Kid, if it wasn't for the sake of the Mermaid King, we wouldn't even want to see you. Mother Ghost Mother said eerily, my Yellow Springs clan, even if we don't become immortals, we can live forever in this dead zone. The Yellow Springs bloodline was a race of death to begin with. They were blessed by nature and were born with a long lifespan. Of course, they would still die of old age, but they would live longer. That is why you all have long life, but not eternal life. Your lifespan will eventually come to an end. Jiang Changkong said indifferently, no matter how much I say, what will make you leave this place and follow me to unify the starry sky? Or are we just going to wait for death here and watch as those near gods perish here? The Yellow Spring bloodline has a way to protect themselves, a near deity said calmly. If you want us to support you, that's fine. In the future, the Yellow Springs will rule the universe, the Nether Dragon said calmly. Ghost Mother added, that's right. If that's the case, we can help you. Little Brother Kong? The Abyss Dragon looked at Jiang Changkong. He could not join the conversation at all. Brother Long, I'll take my leave first. If you want to stay, then stay. After Jiang Changkong finished speaking, he turned around and left. The 9-year deities were stunned, a little confused. You're leaving just like that? You don't even want to talk? Aren't you here to ask for help? Brat, once you walk out of this door, you will no longer have the support of the Yellow Springs bloodline, Ghost Mother said coldly. You're really interesting. I'm here to help you become immortals. This is a great opportunity. You're turning me away, as if I'm begging you. Jiang Changkong's expression was cold as he looked at them coldly. In this world, those who are strong can survive anywhere. Without you, I'm just changing my way of cultivation. Huh? The 9 near deities frowned. With your strength, can you see through me? Jiang Changkong put his hands behind his back, and his aura was restrained. The 9 near deities' expressions changed slightly. They really could not see through Jiang Changkong right now. He was like an ordinary person. The Taiji scripture was a realm higher, so they could not see through his cultivation. Unless an immortal came, they would not be able to see through him. Jiang Changkong said indifferently, I can find a random country and become the Grand Marshal. Who will know? As long as I gather enough resources and become a near deity, this universe will still be mine. The difference between a near deity is like heaven and earth, Ghost Mother said coldly. A near deity is enough. When this universe is destroyed, I will be able to protect myself with the power of the 3 lights. Jiang Changkong released the power of the 3 lights. When that time comes, I will be waiting for you in the celestial realm. Without the Yellow Springs bloodline, he would only be developing in a low profile for a while, and gathering resources would be slower. But it was not impossible. Opening the gate of immortality with the Trilite Grand Array and destroying the universe? The King of Mermaids was the most anxious, not him. The near deity Dark Dragon could not help but say, we can give you a chance, provided that you promise not to use the Trilite Grand Array. After unifying the universe, whether or not to use the array is up to you. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. If I say to use the array, will you do it? You want me to set up the formation alone? Unless there was something wrong with his brain, no one would do it alone. That's true. Then you pass the test. Let's be clear. I'm giving you a chance, not the other way around. Jiang Changkong raised his head and said with disdain, I can live whether I want you or not. Why'd I have to ask of you? The 9 near deities, why was the dark dragon so cowardly and the humans it brought back so arrogant? Jiang Changkong was actually panicking. These were 9 near deities, and 2 of them were at the limit of the near deity level. They could kill him at any time, and he still wanted to trick them to help him get resources quickly. But he could not be weak. Once he was weak, he would really have to listen to them. By then, it would be his second celestial kingdom on Earth, and the throne would be no different from puppet. Jiang Changkong looked down at the near deities. I will take you to conquer the universe. The corpses are yours, and the souls are yours. I only want some resources that you can't use, but I will give you endless land to build a paradise. The 9 near deities fell into deep thought. That seemed to be the case. They could transform the territory they conquered into the underworld. Apart from the Yellow Springs, who could survive there? I don't want to waste my breath. Since you can't figure it out, I won't say any more. Goodbye. After saying that, Jiang Changkong walked away. Come back. The 9 forces dragged Jiang Changkong back at the same time. Let's discuss about the Yellow Springs Celestial Kingdom. What Yellow Springs Celestial Kingdom? Jiang Changkong was confused. The near deity Dark Dragon said with a dark expression, "We agreed to help you build a celestial kingdom and let you become the emperor." Yellow Springs Celestial Kingdom. Yellow Springs Celestial Kingdom doesn't sound good, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Mother Harpy frowned. Corpse Dao. Jiang Changkong, I feel like you still don't understand what I mean. Everyone, please understand. If I become the emperor, everyone in the Celestial Kingdom will listen to me. Those who don't will be killed. Jiang Changkong said coldly. If you don't agree, ask the Mermaid King to replace you. He suddenly wanted to kill this guy. What should he do? Jiang Changkong was very calm. If the Mermaid King wanted to stop the galaxy burial, he could only start with the 3 war bodies. As for gathering a group of near deities to fight against Hua, Tianrui, and the others, the near deities were going crazy from wanting to become immortals. Chapter 448. Abyss Dragon looked at the bewildered ancestral patriarchs and became more courageous. Brother Kong is right. The celestial nation cannot be reckless. We must listen to orders and not fight for power. That's how the celestial nation on Earth collapsed. Then tell me, what do you think? Haridi said calmly. Her coldness was gone. Jiang Changkong glanced at the 9 near gods. They were all calm and didn't want to kill him. First, the Yellow Spring clan must listen to my orders and not go against them. We can't slaughter unrelated clans. Some neutral or small clans that didn't participate in the space war must not be affected. Jiang Changkong said calmly. Continue, Abyss Dragon said. Second, including you, no one is allowed to interfere with my orders or go against them. If necessary, you near gods will have to help me block the other near gods. The 9 near gods nodded. No problem. We won't let those near gods get what they want. Third, destroy the West Barren Star Demon Clan. You can have your territory. I only want resources. If there are people from Earth, save them if you can. If you can't, don't kill them. Jiang Changkong said calmly. If I can do these 3 things, I will open the gate of heaven on my own in the future. Open the gate of heaven on your own? You still have that idea? Haridi snorted. Others can't, but it doesn't mean I can't, Jiang Changkong said proudly. Abyss Dragon nodded. Brother Kong is very powerful. Don't think that you're just a peak star saint. When you came, you defeated a near god. Oh, the 9 near gods were shocked. The Mermaid King didn't tell them that. Even the 3 combat bodies 1,000 years ago couldn't fight a near god at the peak of the star saint level, let alone defeat one. Near gods could be said to have touched the realm of deities and gods. They were on another level. Jiang Changkong's 4 Taoist forms shone. Countless Taoist patterns appeared like an ancient Tao. Even though I can't use my full power, the 3 Taoist forms will be invincible in the competition. Jiang Changkong said confidently. This gave the 9 near gods some confidence. Feeling Jiang Changkong's terrifying power, the 9 near gods were shocked and could no longer remain calm. He was truly invincible below divinity level, far surpassing the power of the 3 great combat bodies. Even after withdrawing the Taiji Great Tao, Jiang Changkong's strength remained terrifying. To be able to cultivate the 3 great battle bodies to this level, you are indeed the first. Mother Ghost Mother stood up. I agree with you 3 points. With us around, Yellow Spring won't resist you. We agree as well. The 8 near gods stood up. The Nether Dragon added, are we really not allowed to use the Yellow Spring's deity kingdom? No, I have a better idea. Great Sheen. Great Sheen. In ancient times on Earth, there was a powerful and prosperous dynasty. The tyranny of the emperor suits me very well. But little brother Kong, Great Sheen's 2nd generation will perish, the underworld dragon interrupted. When that time comes, I'll be in the immortal world, where I get a second life. Jiang Changkong pursed his lips. He was probably going to die in this life. Why would he wait for second life? What they needed to do was unify the universe and open the celestial gate. There was no such thing as a future. The 9 near gods nodded. They just needed to help the Mermaid King stop the universe from being destroyed and reap the benefits along the way. As for how long this deity kingdom would exist, they did not care. All right, wait for us to gather the army, unseal Yellow Spring, and step out of the immortal desolate. The Nether Dragon said with a hint of excitement. After being sealed for so long, the 9 near gods, with such strength, shouldn't they go out and show it off? How long will it take for you to gather the army? Jiang Changkong asked. Mother Ghost Mother said about half a year. The ghost domain is a bit big, and there are many ghosts and ghouls. It will take some time for us to rush back. Then let me see the resources you have accumulated over the years. Don't tell me you don't have any. After being sealed for so many years, I don't believe you haven't found any corpses or star crystals. Jiang Changkong said indifferently. The Nether Dragon's expression stiffened. We haven't even gotten any benefits. It's one thing to give you an army, but now we have to give you resources? I'm done being a great emperor. There's no sincerity at all. Jiang Changkong clapped his hands and prepared to leave. F***CK. The 9 near gods were on the verge of collapse. The person the Mermaid King found was too unreliable. He just gave up without saying a word. You can have it. We have no use for it. Mother Ghost Mother really wanted to eat him. He hadn't done anything yet, and he was already plundering their Yellow Spring resources. Jiang Changkong finally smiled. We are all partners. If I improve, it will be of help to you all. Soon, the near gods sent the resources over. Many of them were not handled properly. Jiang Changkong didn't care. He had the equipment and could handle it. Right? What identity do you plan to use? The Nether Dragon asked. I just thought of one. Let's call him Jiang Changqi. Jiang Changkong pondered and said, aren't you telling them clearly that it's you? The 9 near gods had ugly expressions. Are you serious? Jiang Changkong, Jiang Changyue, Jiang Changqing. You only changed one word? Don't worry. If they don't ask, we won't say. Let me a peak star Saint Corpse. Didn't they want Jiang Changyue dead? It's fine as long as Jiang Changyue is dead. As for hiding my identity, you should have a way to prevent them from finding out who I really am. Jiang Changkong said lightly. All right, we'll do as you say. If anything goes wrong, you will take responsibility. The 9 near gods were helpless. The Mermaid King really sent them an ancestor. The near gods didn't dare to speak loudly. They were afraid that this guy would really give up. Even though they said that even if the galaxy was destroyed, the Yellow Spring branch would be able to protect themselves. But if they could really protect themselves, they probably wouldn't even care about the Mermaid King. Seeing the near gods leave, the Nether Dragon whispered, Brother Kong, you're amazing. Of course, when the time comes, I will make you the totem of the Great Qin Celestial Kingdom. You won't have to do anything and just enjoy the offerings. How about that? Jiang Changkong said. That's good, that's good. The Nether Dragon clapped his claws. This suggestion was great, as expected of his brother. I'll go into seclusion first. When the Great Qin Celestial Kingdom is established and the expedition is over, you can go into seclusion. When I gather enough resources, you can replace me. The Nether Dragon didn't object. When the Peak Star Saint's corpse was sent over, Jiang Changkong started to prepare it. It was just that this corpse was too weak compared to his Dao body. In order to make it more realistic, Jiang Changkong added many materials to strengthen it. It barely withstood the 4 great Taos. But even so, it was still cracked. The yellow spring branch fell a heartache. The tying saber definitely couldn't be handed over. It would be suicide. Before he died, he would tell the near gods that they would never find it again. The rest would be handed over to the near gods to bring the corpse to its death. Zhang Changkong went into seclusion in Yama Palace. The army and the dragon robe were handed over to the yellow spring branch to prepare. The nether dragon ran out to get closer to his clansmen. He also boasted about how good his relationship with Zhang Changkong was. In the future, when the celestial kingdom was established, he could ask him for a good position. The prerequisite was that the corpse was of high quality and quantity. A group of ghost Dao and corpse Dao cultivators hurriedly handed over their collections. The near gods were worried that this celestial kingdom would be corrupted even before it was established. Moreover, it started from the great emperor and his brother. Why did they feel that Zhang Changkong was even more useless than the celestial kingdom on earth?